Let's see. Okay. It's working. Let's see. All right. This is a test, my friends. This is a test. Oh, gee, apparently 50 people viewing already. 55 viewers, 57. Gee, this is just a test, my friends. I'm going to be trying to begin live streaming. Comment your thoughts. Tell me what's on your mind. Apparently 80 live viewers. That's not too bad. That's not too bad at all. 77 live viewers. Guys, comment your thoughts. Tell me what you're up to. Tell me what you're thinking right now. G'day, Drew. I saw the title. I've been saying that for weeks. Sup, Drew? America's washed, I'm afraid. Look, it's very sad, guys. It's very sad. Gee, this is actually not too bad. 120 live viewers. 120 live viewers. G'day, Drew from Snazzy Scotsman. Thank you very much. How do I put on the comments? I'm putting up the comments. So I've got G'day, Drew from Snazzy Scotsman. Thank you very much. Computer tells me that he's seen the title. He's been saying it for weeks. It's very sad. We're dealing with MAGA Maoism, folks. And so what I'm going to do in this stream today, this is my first ever stream, and I'm going to make this regular. We're going to call this the Drew Pavlu Show, and we're going to do this. I'm going to do it every day for the next 100 days. I need to conquer my perfectionism. I just got to basically force myself to do this stuff. We're going to do live streaming. I will debate people, all this sort of thing. Let me check that. Let me check whether my live is working on my YouTube. Great hair. Somebody says great hair. Very, very true. Matt Forney, he'd be very sad right now. There are a lot of bald, fat people that hate me. Like, for example, Matt Forney, Captive Dreamer. He's losing his hair very, very precipitously. And so I think they're very upset right now. Aldingo says, "G'day, Drew, you legend, looking well, if not kind of Turkish." Let's go. Listen, I'm Greek, but I'll take the compliment. This man says, "Great hair, Drew." And I just want to make one thing clear here. Captain Dreamer, he's going bald. He's going bald. Actually, what I'm going to do is I'm going to go to Captain Dreamer's page, and we're going to go through his recent video. And I'll just go through and we'll just analyze his voice, his hair, what we're dealing with here, folks. Because a lot of people are saying it's not good. It's not good. So this is Captain Dreamer. What a scary guy. What a very powerful, very strong. Now where's the video where he has a very, it kind of sounds like Cam from Modern Family, I believe. Here it is. So analysis. We begin with some analysis. I've got a comment here. I'm a fat bald guy who was a fan. Thank you, guys. Listen, when I make fun of people, please keep in mind I'm only talking about the people who hate me. So, for example, we're going to focus on Captive Dreamer. If I've got fans who are going bald, don't worry, we support you. But if you're Captive Dreamer and you're going bald, then it's over. It's over, folks. I'm telling you, it's over. So let's just first zoom in a little bit on the hair. Let's zoom in on a little bit on the hair. Now, look at the forehead. You look at the forehead and you think to yourself, what's going on? You just think, you're looking and you're like, straight away, this is fucked up. This is fucked up. That's the first thing you think when you look at this. You're looking at this and you're like, I'm not sure where to go from here. That's what I'm thinking when I'm looking at this. He's constantly talking about how I'm supposedly Turkish. Maybe this man has to go to Turkey for the hair transplant. That's a question. That's a question that a lot of people are asking. Invite Captain Dream onto the show. I'm not sure. I'm not sure about that, but I'm just quickly checking out the YouTube stream. So the YouTube only has 6 viewers. Please, my friends, go to the YouTube as well. It looks like Twitter's got to be our main platform because right now I've got 394 people viewing. That's pretty fucking good. But like 95% of that is on Twitter. That's pretty good though. That's pretty good. Now, straight up, we look at the forehead. We look at the forehead and we think to ourselves, it's over. It's over. It's going very bad. I've got a comment here. Foreheadism cannot be tolerated. Very well said, Andrew. Very well said. We're looking at this and we're just thinking to ourselves, is this the master of the race? Is this the Ubermensch? Or, it's very concerning. Somebody says a sniper's dream. What can I say? I'm not going to add, I condemn all violence, but it's certainly concerning. I mean, if you were sort of like, that mission, All Gillied Up. from Call of Duty. Um, say you're doing all gillied up. So I'm just going to get up that beautiful. It's a beautiful episode. Um, Imagine this, and suddenly, psh, psh, huge forehead in front of you. You you'd be very quickly winning the mission. Um, I've got a comment here. Senor Ingles. Hello there, Drew. Looking good. Thank you very much, Senor Ingles. A lot of people are saying this. I really appreciate it, my friend. Thank you very much. Um, do you think he could declare his forehead his own country? We're, we're looking for a homeland for the white people, my friend. So it could be potentially on Captain Dreamer's forehead. And let's listen a little bit to his voice because I think that's one of the funniest parts of the video. So we're gonna put on our serious political punditry hat. We're gonna put it on, and we're going to talk a little bit about Mark Zuckerberg. And one of the best parts about this is the Spanish lisp aspect of it. The Spanish lisp. So he's going a little bit like, "Hello, this is me from Badalona, Catedrima," and we can't hear him. Okay. His forward. That's very true. That's very true, Peter. I agree with you. I agree with you very strongly there. I agree with you very strongly here. And look, it could actually be the potential homeland for the Aryan ethno state in the future. Captain Dreamer's forehead. My friends, some people are saying that you cannot hear it. I don't know. Can you? Lev says, let's do BTR soon. We agree on so many things. So it's destiny. We finally link up. Look, I agree, my friend. We will do it. We will do it. I'm sorry. I've basically been I've been a little bit slack in this area, but we will do it soon. I swear to God. We got apparently 500 people watching. That's pretty huge. That's pretty huge. Listen, obviously, Twitter's my main platform. I want to get more people to my YouTube. So, my friends, if you can go to my YouTube channel, it would be very, very much appreciated because I have to build up a following here, a following on the YouTube channel. So I'm just going to shill it to the 550 people watching right now. Listen, my friends, we've got the YouTube channel. My latest video, which is MAGA Maoism, it's only got 800 views. Please, we've got 500 people watching right now. I would highly recommend everybody go through, just give it a like and a comment. Just help me just build up this YouTube channel. Because yes, obviously we're going a lot better on Twitter than we are on. I cannot hear the weirdo. Okay, my friends. Does anybody know how I can potentially include the audio of Captive Dreamer here? Let's see. Just testing. Okay, tell me, my friend, if you can hear the guys. Can you guys hear this right now? Just add to the comments if you can hear. So if you guys can hear, just leave a comment because I'm. Can you guys hear me now? Gee. I'm muted. By God. By God, damn. If only I had some kind of technical support. A little bit booming with these things. Can you guys hear me now? Yes, you can hear me now. I don't know what's happened. Now we've got a lot of people saying that it's working now. Thank you very much. Thank you guys for letting me know. I apologize for that. Now, I'll just let it play in the background. Um, is this guy just genius? Comment your thoughts. If you guys think this guy is, supposed to be, Aryan Superman, um, he might be more. That's a great comment, Andrew. He might be more coherent in muted form. This man, he's not a very coherent thinker. Um, This is a funny comment. How do you post so often on Twitter? I figure you have a big team. No, it's literally just me. It's literally just me. I probably post too much, my friends. Unfortunately, I probably post too much. There's no team. It's literally just me. Maybe that's sad. Maybe that's sad, or maybe it's good. I don't know. Comment your thoughts. But it literally is just me. I post at all times of the day. I just scroll. I just come up with things as they come to my brain. I don't have any kind of filter. I just post literally whatever is on my mind at any 1 second. So I really just post constantly. I just want to just quickly roast this guy here, Malaki, very very funny guy here, very funny guy. So this guy was running for the Family First Party in Brisbane, and they're one of the smallest parties in Australia. And he actually got disendorsed from them. He got disendorsed from the party. They got like 0.3% of the vote. He got disendorsed because he was posting like Groiper stuff. He was posting about how much he hated Jews. It's just really funny. Imagine getting disendorsed from the party with like 0.2% of the vote. And this guy is like 18 as well. So what a sad life. What an absolutely sad life. Speaking of Destiny, thoughts on Destiny. Let me show you one thing, my friends. Let me show you one thing. I will be back in a second. If you're asking me for the thoughts on Destiny, it's a very very powerful powerful team here. And some people said, Drew, what are you doing promoting this man who's so cancelled? And I said, listen here, I don't agree with everything the man's done. I don't agree with everything the man said, but he is a good bloke. He's a good bloke in many ways. We agree on probably 70% of issues. And one day I'll get on this bloke's stream, I hope, inshallah, and it'll make all the difference. All the difference. I haven't seen someone walk off a TV set since Mel Meninga's campaign launch. Oh, that's a good one, Daniel. Listen, I just walked off because I had to get my my image of Drew and Destiny. It's a very powerful thing. Your chair is unacceptably woke and ergonomic. I demand God-fearing leather be reinstalled. Listen here, my friends. I actually still have the leather chair. I have the leather chair. Unfortunately, it broke, so I had to get a gaming chair. But I've still got the leather chair, and I'm going to bring it back. I'll bring it off camera. Now, what a beautiful chair this is. It is such a beautiful chair. I actually got this chair for like $200, and I was like, my God, it's beautiful against the bookshelf. It's such a professional setup, but it has broken. It is broken. You can't sit in it. It just swings back. So we're going to fix it at some point. And I will restore the leather. Drew walked off to get his 8th lunch of the day. Come on, Malaki. That's just mean, mate. That's just mean-spirited, and we don't even agree. We hate mean-spirited blokes here. What were you doing in the chair? Landy, I wasn't doing anything wrong. The dog, I got a new puppy. The dog was chewing on it, unfortunately. Now that's just mean-spirited, Al Dingo. Did you break the chair the first time you sat on it? That's just cruel. That's just cruel and not called for. We strongly disagree with your comment. The dog was eating it, and that's unfortunately what happened. My God, we've actually got 1,000 people watching. 1,000 people watching. This is actually quite funny. I mean, so I've got 966 people watching live on Twitter and 11 on YouTube. This is pretty good for my first stream. I mean, I wish the numbers were reversed. Because Twitter ad revenue is like 1/50th of YouTube ad revenue. So that's why I keep on telling my friends, please go through, give my video a like. Now, this is my latest video, my friends. It is MAGA Maoism. And I encourage everybody to go through and give it a like and a comment. Now, I have that in my comment section of the show. So if you go to the show and you go to my comment section, go through, give the video a like. We've got 1,000 people watching. If 100 people go give it a like, help me get more money for myself, because Twitter ad revenue is like 1/50th of YouTube ad revenue, and Elon can kill you at any moment. So you've got to branch out into other platforms. Now, my friends, please add some more comments. Ask me anything. I've got 1,000 people watching live right now. I'm happy to respond to anybody. YouTube is a better platform, really. It probably is. It probably is. And so long term, we want to try. Long term, we certainly want to branch out onto YouTube. Now, what a great comment by Andrew Landew. Magamausm is best at 0.75 playback. Sounds almost Chilean. Thank you very much, Andrew. I actually was speaking a bit too fast when I recorded that one, but I will fix that in the future. Debate Hassan. I would debate Hassan, but he doesn't debate anybody, and he's a cowardly figure who doesn't debate anybody. Tom, I went to UQ. Where are you? Didn't you say it was a one-on-one match? Why didn't you dare to come? This is the bloke. This is a Chinese bloke who threatened to fight me at the University of Queensland, and he said, "Come to the University of Queensland playground and fight me." I literally went with my friends, and the bloke didn't even come. So I offered this man a 1v1 physical match of strength. I offered this man a physical match of strength, 1v1, and I said I would actually destroy him. And I went to the show. I went to the main event, and he was nowhere to be seen. I literally went there, and this guy was nowhere. So what a cowardly figure. He didn't come, and he's a loser. He's a loser. This Chinese kid who wanted to fight me, I offered to fight him. I said to him, I will actually destroy you if you dared lay a finger upon me. I said 1v1, no weapons, let's do this. I went to the University of Queensland. He was nowhere to be seen. He said, come to the playground. I went to the playground. Nothing. And he did not give a good showing for himself and the Chinese nation that day when he refused to fight me. Shalom Aki, Drew Pavlu. Thank you. Shalom, my friend, as well. Shalom. We love our friends in the Zionist community. Of course. We love it all, my friends. Thank you very much. Shalom Aki. Drew Pavlu, I've been sharing your Captive Dreamer and Magamausm views videos with my friends. Keep up the great work. Thank you. That's just another example of how the Zionist network is supporting my work. So thank you so much, Philip. I really appreciate that. Name and shame the piker. I'll show you the comment. I'll literally bring up the comment of the bloke who was saying he wanted to fight me. This is the guy, Tom. He said, come to UQ and fight me. I said, okay, 1v1, no weapons, let's do this. He was a Chinese nationalist who was offended by my criticism of the Chinese Communist Party. I said, let's fight. I went there. He was gone. He was nowhere to be seen. He disappeared into the ether. And it's very sad. It's very sad. So I just want to say, what a loser. What a loser. He didn't even want to fight me. I took pictures of the scene. I arrived there. Where are you? I took pictures of the scene. I asked you. I literally tagged you on the day. I said, where are you? I went with my friends. You're nowhere to be seen. Just total capitulation, and it doesn't reflect well on the Chinese nation when Chinese Han ultranationalists refuse to back up their words like this. Who is uglier, Matt Forney or Captive Dreamer? Also asked this on Twitter, but it's an important question, so I don't want you to miss it. Okay, very good question, very good. So let me show you everyone. This is actually a really funny one. So Matt Forney, very, very bad bloke. Let me show you this. So Matt Forney, blah, blah, blah. Where is he? A lot of tweets today. I have to scroll back a lot to find this one. So, okay, Matt Forney. He responds. He dares to respond to my post. He says, fat and no muscle mass. Look at this fucking bloke. Look at him. Look at Matt Forney. What a disaster. Look at this man. He says that he dares to insult me. He dares to insult me while looking like this. Do you understand how sad that makes me? Do you understand how much that kills me? That this man thinks that he can insult me like that? Look at him. So when we're speaking about homes for the Aryan nation, again, it's like Captive Dreamer. Well said, Poseidon. Is that bald Peter driven? Well said, very well said. Again, it's like Captive Dreamer. Once again, you could have the home for the Aryan ethno-state right on the forehead. I'm trying to point there. See, the forehead right there on Matt Forney, that itself could be the home of the Aryan ethno-state. That itself could be the home of the Aryan nation on Matt Forney's forehead. And I like it as well because he's got the chunkiness around the sides. What that indicates is it's hibernating. What it shows is he's got a bit of junk in the trunk. It's a sort of hibernating thing. It's a sort of hibernation. So, if we were to go into a sort of nuclear winter type scenario and everybody is starving, imagine everybody's starving in a kind of nuclear winter type scenario. Matt would be fine because he's got meat and sort of like He stored a lot of nutrients in the back of his neck, and that's kind of just there as a sort of hibernation type thing. Um, uh, very, very well said, Philip. The East Meds and the Southern Italy, very well said, will always mog the Nords. That's so true. The Euro-Mediterranean continuum really does mog the Nords. Now look at me, a Mediterranean figure versus Matt Forney, who's supposed to be the Aryan Übermensch of the Nordic people. Very well said, Andrew. Matt Forney supports job creation, the important fast food industry, Viva KFC. That's true. He's actually helping bring back manufacturing to America. So, as an American first figure, what a powerful man he is. That's very true, Mrs. V. I've peeled potatoes that look just like this guy. That's very true. Again, I'm not just picking on this guy to be mean. I mean, he literally attacked me out of nowhere today, my friends. He attacked me out of nowhere. Fat and no muscle mass, he calls me. But then we just look at him. Now, this is the funniest part about Matt Forney. If you go to his Goodreads, if you just type in his name, you think, I wonder what this guy's been up to the past. I wonder what he does for a living. Let's see. It's really interesting. Let's just see. Books by Matt Forney. It's just downloading. By the way, I wanted to say thank you, Mrs. V, for I think you were my first YouTube sort of paid subscriber. So very much I support you. Thank you very much. I appreciate you. Now I've got 1,200 people watching, guys. 1,200 people watching. I just want to thank everybody, and I just want to say, if you go to my live stream, if you're watching via the live stream, please consider going down to the YouTube video, Magamausen, and just giving that a like and a comment, because I'm very much trying to build my YouTube right now. I've got 1,200 people watching, and if you can just scroll down slowly and just like the YouTube video, it's very important, so that we've got to build up onto multiple different platforms. I don't want to be a sort of Matt Forney type figure when I'm 40 and just reduced to, I mean, what does he do? I mean, okay, let's look at his literary production. Okay, fucking the making love. That's beautiful. Thank you so much, Matt. I mean, Matt would really know, right? Matt would absolutely know the difference between. So, if you look at this guy and you look at his literary production, so for example, he's written an article called "Fucking the Making Love," and you just look at this bloke and you're just like, that's the type of guy who would really know the difference between those concepts. Oliver Smith, it's my lunch break. Thought I'd pop in. So many people commenting off their mum's Wi-Fi. Thank you so much, Oliver. Thank you for coming in, mate. I've got only 14 live viewers on YouTube, but I've got 1,300 on Twitter, which is actually pretty sensational. That's a huge figure. That's crazy. So I've got 1,300 people watching live, and I want to say thank you to everyone watching live. Now, Matt Forney, going back to this guy, so he's written an article on Terror House Mag. The domain's expired. That's a shame. That's a big shame. So this guy who was calling me fat, he's written an article called Loving v Fucking. Very powerful. I think he would really know the difference between those concepts. I reckon he would be. So I'll go back to his website. Let's go back to his website. Maybe you should upload it to your Pornhub account, or have you reached your data capacity on it? El Dingo, that's not a very funny comment, mate. That's a little bit mean-spirited. Now, going back, Western hegemony enjoyer. Very well said, my friend. Very well said. Very much appreciate. Philip, I very much appreciate your comment about mocking the North. Snazzy Scotsman, how's the pod with Ali Tabrizi? That's a really good podcast. I actually really encourage everyone, go to Ali Tabrizi. Great guy. He's based in Brisbane. And where's his YouTube? We did a really good podcast the other day. It was actually the best podcast I've ever done. Where's this guy? Blah, blah, blah. Ali Tabrizi. Ali Tabrizi. Gee, 1,300 people. There are people on, the webcam industry that don't even get this many viewership. 1,400 people. That's pretty sensational. Now, yes, this is it. Ali Tabrizi. So we did a really good podcast the other day. That was probably my best ever podcast. So I really encourage people to go watch that if you get the time. But Matt Forney. So we go back to his literary production. Okay. Okay. This is not what I was looking for. What I was looking for was his Goodreads. So the amazing thing about this guy is he was actually a professional sex tourist. And if you just look at his literary production, it's just amazing stuff. So Big Lovin', the guide to picking up fat chicks. Wow, that's a Shakespearean type text, I believe. I mean, that's really like, literary content that will survive thousands of years into the future. Kalimera. Oppa. Yasu. Allegedly. So yes. Malaki's being nice to me again because I was mean to him. Yes, well said, Andrew. The Internet Archive will retain Matt's literature. So let's just look at Matt Forney's literary production. This is fucking insane, my friends. So this is the guy who was calling me fat today. We look at the guy, not exactly the Arjen Ubermensch right here, not exactly the Superman of the race, is he? And then we go to what type of background does he have? And he literally wrote a book called "Do the Philippines: How to Make Love with Filipino Girls in the Philippines." So if you look at the quality of my enemies, you have to just conclude these people are fucking horrible. These people are terrible. That's actually a really scary and disturbing comment, but it's probably true. It's really disturbing. This is the guy who was writing "Do the Philippines: How to Make Love with Filipino Girls in the Philippines," and this is Matt Forney for you, my friends. What a guy! Big love in the guide to picking up fat chicks. Wow, the type of person who decides that they hate me, the type of person on Twitter who hates me. Really, they're not sending their best, are they? They're not sending their best. Bald and bankrupt's up. Is that true? I wouldn't even know. I mean, is it actually true? Dude, Matt Forney has like 50 tweets about me. He actually does. Let's see what he says about me. Okay, Matt Forney, blah blah blah. Let's have a look at his Twitter account. Mad about Schindler's List, blah blah blah. Oh yeah, okay, yeah, blah blah blah. Oh, the Arjen Ubermensch, my family has roots in America extending to before the revolution. I have this documented. My ancestors built America. Big love and the guide to picking up fat chicks. That's what the founding fathers had in store, mate. That's what the founding fathers had in store. Oh my God, man. If your ancestors could see you, that's not a good thing. Maybe he is flirting with you, Drew. That's a scary thought. I do not want that, my friends. I do not want that. Listen here. I am a heterosexual male. I do not want Matt Forney of big love and fame. I do not want this bloke flirting with me. Let's just see more images of this man. This one's wow. That's not good, is it? Okay, let's see. Come on. That's not good. Is it? That's not good. That's not good, is it? Yeah, a lot of people are asking this. A lot of people are saying that's a scary thing. Bro is like a fat Minecraft character. Very well said, my friends. Very well said. You should go on Richard Spencer's show. His episode with Gunther Fellinger was really good. Interesting. I suspect I would have a lot to disagree with Richard, because I think he's not a fan of the Jews. I like the Jews. But he is a supporter of Ukraine. He's a supporter of NATO. I believe maybe he's become more liberal over time. And I'm a liberal. I'm a liberal at the end of the day. So that very well said. I genuinely believe you're one of the most effective liberals I've seen online. I wish liberals were more disagreeable the same way leftists and conservatives are. Thank you, my friend. That's a great comment. Very much support you. Thank you very much. A lot of people have been saying this. I've been saying this as well. As opposed to bald and bankrupt, he's deformed, bald, and intellectually bankrupt. Great comment by Western Hegemony and Joy. This guy's great. I think, do I follow you? Please comment your Twitter. I'm going to follow you back. You're a great guy. How many people have I got on YouTube right now? I've got 1,500 on Twitter, which is crazy. I've got 20 on YouTube. That's not too bad. I want to get if I could flip those numbers around, I would flip those numbers around. Isn't he that big white supremacist guy who literally coined the term alt-right back in the day? I don't know. This guy, Matt Forney, I mean, he is big in a lot of ways, I suppose. The Conservative Party of Canada needs to win this Canadian election to stop the hate rallies once and for all. Look, the Hamas rallies in Canada have been crazy. Wow, Landu has become a YouTube member. Thank you so much, my friends. Thank you so much. See, we're really building this thing. Yusuf, long live the Uyghurs. Absolutely, I completely agree with you. Eternal thanks to Andrew Landu, again, from the Zionist lobby. I think he is, but he's subscribed on YouTube, which is a great thing. So, guys, go through to the YouTube channel. It's very important. That's where I really need to be building my stuff right now. And I encourage everyone to go to my YouTube channel. Let me see how my stream's doing there. We've got 20 people. That's not too bad. That's not too bad. But free Tibet, free Tibet. Oh, thank you very much. So Andrew Lendy has become a part of the Drew Volunteer Brigade. Very powerful, very powerful. Now, I would encourage everybody to go to the YouTube live stream. Actually, I'll post the live stream on my Twitter as well. Live stream on YouTube. Drew Pavlu Show, episode 1. And look, this one, I didn't necessarily have a set outline or set topic. I'm just ranting about my enemies, people who mock me, hate me. And these guys, like, if you just look at them, they're not exactly attractive or good people. And that's really the case with Matt Forney. And so let's just look at some more photos of this guy. As a Muslim myself, I'm so disgusted how the Uyghur genocide doesn't get as much attention as the conflict related to it. That's a really good comment. That's a really good comment by my friend Yusuf Dunphy. Thank you so much for your comment, man. Listen, I actually appreciate people from the Muslim community who are willing to oppose the extremists. I really appreciate that. I've got no problem with, like, for example, I've got a great friend, Shag Zadeh, great guy. I'll show you my podcast with Shag Zadeh. That's another one I got to shill for my viewers right now. Now, Shag Zadeh, he's a great mind. And we had a great podcast, Shag Zadeh, and it just shows, when it comes to, high IQ individuals, high IQ, intellectual, anti-extremist Muslims, we get along very, very well. It's just, unfortunately, the types of Hamas supporters and stuff like that, those are the people that I fight with online. Yusuf Dunphy, I saw that podcast and that man is great. Thank you, my friend. That's great. Yeah, no, it was a really good one. Very low conscientious. That's so true. Let's look at a bit more photos of this guy. Yeah, oh my God, man. Holy shit. Look, if someone were to turn into this, if someone was going to click in right now, they'd be like, why are you just being mean to this random fat guy? But I didn't even say anything to him. He just randomly commented out of nowhere saying I was fat today. And so I just have to say, like, fuck this guy. I'm really going to just dig in. If he just attacks me, I'm literally going to have just 1,500 people on the live stream just calling this guy fat. Because look at him. How can he call me fat? It's not good. Look at this shit. Okay, yeah. Gee, we've got 1,590. That's crazy. 1,595 people on Twitter. Are these numbers real? That's crazy. Yes, I believe Matt Forney was just appointed agriculture secretary. I think he's an agriculture secretary member of MAGA right now. Mrs. V says, you're not fat, just need to put it out there. Thank you, salute. We're actually going to pin that comment. Thank you, salute. Very well said, very well said. Thank you, salute. I actually lost about 12, 13 kilograms, which is 25 pounds maybe. I actually did that over the past 7-8 months because I was actually tired of people calling me fat on Twitter. And so in that sense, bullying actually did work to make me lose weight. And so I have to thank my enemies, actually. I have to probably thank my enemies. It's a shame. It's a shame, the whole thing. I kind of just put on weight after the bomb crazy shit happened to me in London a couple of years ago. I just got really depressed and I just went through a bad phase. But we're back on track. We're back on track. Thank you. Salute, Mrs. V. Salute. Hey, Drew, I think your work on Ukraine was great, especially when it isn't MAGA. Are you a John Pilger fan? I love John Pilger, even if I don't agree on every point I wrote. Listen, I have to say, I'm not a fan of John Pilger because a lot of the time he was making a lot of excuses for Russia and China and stuff like that. Like, I'll show you, for example, John Pilger's Wikipedia page. I think he's no longer around these days. Fat shaming actually works. You're looking good, to be fair, but in need of a Turkish barber haircut. Very true. I had one Turkish barber haircut actually in Britain one time. It was actually it was a good experience. John Pilger inhaled too much. I think Landiu is true. John Pilger will never debate you. To be fair to him, Daniel, I think he died in December. So, I mean, touch wood. That's kind of grim. I'm not trying to make fun of that. But that's kind of yeah, I mean, he's probably not going to debate me because he died. I mean, and that's sad. I'm not making fun of it or anything, but that's a bit of a grim comment. I don't think, gee, that's the joke. Okay, yeah, okay. Tell the Hamasniks that they inspired you to lose weight. Very true, very true. Yusuf, the CCP and IRGC are both death cults. Absolutely. See, this is the thing I don't understand, right? Unfortunately, I had a lot of friends in the Uyghur community who went really, really, really hardcore anti-Zionist and Some even making excuses for Hamas and stuff like that. And it's like, guys, at the end of the day, like Iran backs the Chinese government's genocide of the Uyghur people. Iran backs the Chinese Communist Party in really, really hard. And at the same time, Iran is funding, Hamas is funding all these armed groups that are designed to try and destroy the Israelis. So, I mean, you just have to look like, unfortunately, the Russia, China, Iran, North Korea coalition is like a real thing. It's a real thing. Bravo, Yusuf. Absolutely. Here's a good one. Drew, you're not white, you're a Turk. So true, so true. I'm going to leave that up as the pinned comment for a bit because it's kind of funny. So John Pilger, again, I don't want to be mean to Jennifer said that she supported me, so I don't want to be mean to her because like I appreciate that she supported me, but I just want to like be clear about John Pilger, some of the things that he did do. Now he was really good on Pol Pot. He was really good on. He was like one of the first like leftists around the world to kind of expose what Pol Pot was doing in Cambodia, which is like obviously an amazing thing. But the sad thing is, I think he really only did that because like basically Pol Pot had a big break with the Vietnamese, and the Vietnamese were the ones who invaded Cambodia to overthrow Pol Pot. And I think ultimately, like that's probably the only reason why like John Pilger was actually correct about Pol Pot. It was literally just like it was just by accident because he supported like the Vietnamese government. So let's see. So yeah, he was really good on Cambodia, but it kind of coincides with the fact that he was like a big shill for the Vietnamese, and like obviously the Vietnamese invaded, which was actually a really good thing that they did, but still like it's just like, anyway, if we go to John Pilger on Russia, that's where he just becomes like, unfortunately, like a complete disaster. So yeah, so 3 days before the Russian forces invaded Ukraine in February 2022, he goes, with the absence of a Russian invasion, a bitter disappointment to its most avid promoters in London, this exposed of Operation Orbital, the British Army's secretive role in Ukraine is recommended. Just like conspiracy slop, really. So this was 3 days before Russia. Thoughts on Richard Hanania? Salute. We salute Richard Hanania. He's actually a really interesting figure. I actually know a lot of like young guys who got de-radicalized by Richard Hanania. He started off on the far right. He now is basically a liberal because he's so disgusted by how the far right has just incorporated all the stupidest people on earth, like, you know, the low IQ vaxxers, the low IQ anti-vaxxers, the conspiracy slop-tards, all these people. And so I salute Richard Hanania. Even the Viet Cong was shocked by how brutal and sadistic the Khmer Rouge was. Yeah, so that's the sad thing about John Pilger. The sad thing about John Pilger is like the only reason he was correct about Cambodia and Pol Pot was because the Vietnamese were against him, and that was kind of just back down to Pol Pot being insane and like launching cross-border raids against Vietnam and all this crazy stuff. So I mean, really, I feel like he kind of only lucked into being correct on Pol Pot and Cambodia. Otherwise, he would have been like Noam Chomsky, and Noam Chomsky at the time was literally defending Pol Pot, which is just insane, absolutely insane. El Dingo asked, why is Turkish food so much better than Greek? Good one, good one. Russia is one of the last remaining colonial empires. I don't believe any sovereign nation state with international recognition should be abolished or dismantled, but Russia comes close. Listen, China is also a remaining colonial empire. So if you look at the Qing dynasty borders, like here's what people miss, right? Like the People's Republic of China is, except for like, you know, outer Mongolia, like the People's Republic of China is essentially just the borders of the Qing dynasty. Like they literally, like when they invaded Tibet to reconquer what they saw to be like the Qing borderlands, and that was what they did as well to Xinjiang and the Uyghur people. Yeah, the Cambodian Holocaust was like literally it's just like the most insane example of Maoism in practice. And so I actually talk about it a lot in my current MAGA Maoism video, which is like, oh, we had the best editor on this stuff. Oh, that's the Juche part. Where's my Pol Pot part? Yeah, we got a big part on Pol Pot in my recent video on MAGA Maoism. So I encourage everybody to go through and just subscribe to my YouTube channel. Go through, subscribe to my YouTube channel. Very, very important. We've got how many? We've got 21 people watching live on YouTube and 1,700 people watching live on Twitter. We've literally got to reverse those numbers, my friends. We've got to reverse those numbers. So go through and go to my YouTube, please, because the YouTube ad revenue is like 50 times higher than Twitter ad revenue. And I also dislike Elon. I dislike the fact that he can just delete your Twitter account at any time. I'm enjoying your mispronouncing Evil John Pilger's name, but he pronounced it with a soft G, reflecting the softness of his skull. So it's John Pilger. It's John Pilger, not Pilger. I'll just keep saying Pilger because he was a pretty evil bloke. So we go back to, I just want to go back to his Wikipedia page here. So, oh my God, what a disaster. So in an article in The Guardian, John Pilger wrote in May 2014 that Vladimir Putin is the only leader to condemn the rise of fascism in 21st century Europe. That's like literally insane. That's literally insane. Jennifer says, to be fair, Russia's invasion of Ukraine in 2022 was in the last 5 years of his life. I don't expect anyone to change their views, especially political views, in their last years of life. John was wrong on a lot of things, like on Israel. Thanks for sharing. Love your work, Drew. Thank you, Jennifer, for being reasonable. I appreciate you for being reasonable, and thank you for being a supporter as well. Look, he was pretty bad from 2014 onwards, sadly. And it's a shame because he did good work on Cambodia. He did good work on East Timor. But I think probably realistically, the only reason he was good on Cambodia was because like Vietnam was against Cambodia at the time. John Pilger was Donald Trump without the New York penthouse. Very well said, Andrew. Michael says, is Drew a neoliberal or a classical liberal? Actually, I just thought of something interesting. How about I do a political compass while I do this live, just for something to do. This is episode 1 of the Drew Pavlou Show after all. So, each individual enjoys bodily autonomy and have rights that no other individual or group may violate. Yeah, I agree. Support. All fully formed individuals have the freedom to decide what they knowingly and voluntarily consume. I mean, yeah, but I don't want people to take like meth and like fentanyl and stuff. So I'd say disagree there. Let's see the comments. China bullies Southeast Asia just like how Russia bullies Eastern Europe. Absolutely. So like this is the thing, right? I had all these MAGA supporters who liked my work on China, and then they were like, "Oh, Drew's so bad on." And then like when I became a big supporter of Ukraine, they're like, "Go back to just talking about China." And it's like, no, it's literally linked. It's literally linked. Like Ukraine and Taiwan are fully interlinked. Philip Daniel, have you looked into the relationship between Swiss Nazi banker Francois Genot and the PLO, PFLP, Jacques Weber, and Carl? That's actually a really interesting question. I actually want to look into that. That's very interesting, actually. I was reading the other day about how I think it was from the Odd Lots podcast. I was reading about how the Soviet Union was instrumental in the creation of the Eurodollar system because there were banks in France that were run by communist sympathizers, and the Soviets would literally just like take briefcases filled with like gold bars and stash it like at these banks in France, and they would stash them with like diplomatic bags and everything. And this is like partly how they created the Eurodollar. El Dingo, whose bookshelf is that behind you? This is actually my bookshelf. This is my bookshelf. Very proud of it. I built it up over like 4 or 5 years from basically when I started university, and I had it in storage for a long time, and I finally got a new place recently. That's why I've been like producing a lot more content, doing streaming and all that sort of stuff. And yeah, finally was able to set up a studio. And yeah, now I've got the bookshelves behind me, which is very cool. Landy, friendly Geordies bullies Drew just like Russia bullies Eastern Europe. Very true. I could not have said it better myself. There is actually a big friendly Geordies hate video about me. See, this is my problem. I got ADHD. I started the political compass test, and then I called it lol cow, unfortunately. Wait, hang on. He's 35? Come on. That's fucked up. That's fucked up. He's making videos attacking me. I'm 10 years younger than the man. That is sad. That's sad. 35 years old. He's actually becoming a boomer. That's legitimately sad. Let me find the video where he was attacking me. I've never done a full proper response yet. And maybe I will in the next episode or something like that. But look, there's nothing really special in it. He just was mad about me talking about Julian Assange, and he started ranting about how Drew's fat, blah, 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 all that shit. It was kind of funny. I thought it was pretty funny, actually. I'll do a proper response video eventually. I will do it. I just have been a bit busy with my life, but I'll do a proper response video to Friendly Geordies at some point or another. I've now got 1,831 live viewers on Twitter. That's crazy. Penn Central says, how can I get on the show to express my views about MAGA's third worldism? Actually, that's a good point. I will work out how to do this in the future so that I can have more people join. That's interesting. Yes, I agree. Thank you, Daniel, for donating. For $10, Drew will vilify Clementine Ford and promote Vote Luco's account. I appreciate it, Daniel. Thank you very much for donating. I will have to say that Clementine Ford is a genuinely extremely evil person. I had a very funny meme about her. Let me try find it. I made an image of like, hang on, where is this? I made like a funny meme of like her with Sinwa. I gotta find it. Yes, here it is. Here it is. For $10, I would vilify Clementine Ford for free, but this is good. I made this meme, and I think it's actually very. I think it's a very powerful illustration of what Clementine's up to. Breaking: Hamas leader Yahya Sinwar reveals newfound fondness for Australian feminist author Clementine Ford's works in Arabic translation. Yahya Sinwar: Clementine Ford's struggle for female empowerment has touched my heart. I just put it like a little montage here. You know, you got the case against marriage, boys will be boys. I think that's one of Clementine's original titles in Arabic translation. Very powerful. This pussy grabs back. So Clementine Ford, very powerful figure. It's beautiful. What a figure she is. She's really touched the hearts of so many people around the world. And I'm really glad that they were able to do the Arabic translations of her works into Arabic language. We all know that she'd be very popular in the Middle East, of course. You know, her views on a range of subjects, like for example, the case against marriage. I'm sure that, you know, that like Hamas people would love that type of work. Amin al-Husseini, progressive hero. So true, so true. Amin al-Husseini. This is like literally so bad for the Palestinian cause, the fact that this photo exists. I have to say, guys, like it obviously is like pretty bad for the that like obviously it's a disaster that this photo exists. But one of the things that really frustrates me and pisses me off is like you get all these memes and you'll get people posting stuff like the Ford meme is worth at least $20, though she might only be. Well said, Landy. Thank you to the people who've donated to my live stream. Very powerful. Now with Amin and Daniel says, then give me back my tenner because I do it for free. Oh, look, Daniel, you've already donated, but thank you very much. See, Haj al-Husseini, very bad figure. Now, what was I going to say about him? I did a Studio Ghibli file. I used ChatGPT to do a Studio Ghibli. Let's see if we can do a Studio Ghibli of this. I'm gonna bring up ChatGPT and just ask them if they can Studio Ghiblify this image. What I was gonna say before when I was ranting, one of the things that really annoys me with the whole sort of like anti-Zionist movement is like there are like memes that'll get like 100,000 views, and these memes will say stuff like, I've seen memes with like 100,000 views going like, we took the Jews in after the Holocaust and look at how they betrayed us. And like, this is like from the perspective of like Palestinian ultra-nationalists or whatever. It's like, no, you really didn't do that because like Amin al-Husseini was like trying to kill them, unfortunately, during the Holocaust. So this whole narrative that the Palestinian nationalists were really, really supportive of the Jews during the Holocaust. I mean, it'd be nice if it were true. It's unfortunately not, because Amin al-Husseini was literally writing to Nazi Germany and fascist powers across Eastern Europe, begging them to block transports of Jewish children and send them back to concentration camps to block them from going to British Mandatory Palestine. So, yeah, fully psychotic. But I'm going to ask if Studio Ghibli can Studio Ghibli this image. Now we've got 20 live viewers on YouTube, but 1,900 on Twitter. Kudos for your courage in speaking truth to anti-Semitic power. Thank you, Landy. Of course, we love the Zionist networks, but of course these people. No, I joke because I get all these stupid people going like, oh, you do it for, you know, you're getting paid off by the Zionists. But like, I literally just I just hate these disgusting extremists on like far right and far left who are like mental, and they're like you know, it's a common factor. It's a common factor. These guys like. Their hatred of Jewish people, that's what really unites the far right and the far left. That's why there was the Soviet Nazi pact at the beginning of World War II. Oh, that's a pretty harsh comment by Daniel. Clementine would make a fine 12th wife for an Islamist warlord. Daniel, please remember, I think you're supposed to limit it to 4 wives. Let me double check that fact. How many wives can you have under Sharia law? Okay. ChatGPT said that it wouldn't create the Studio Ghibli image of Hitler and al-Husseini because it violates their standards. That's very sad. Yes, according to traditional Sunni and Shia Islamic marital jurisprudence, Muslim men are allowed to be married to multiple women, a practice known as polygyny. Men can have up to 4 wives at a time under Islamic law. So you couldn't have 12, for Clementine. Clementine couldn't do 12. But I do believe that, under the really more extreme interpretations of Sharia law, a man can divorce a woman by just pronouncing, I have divorced you, like just a verbal pronouncement of divorce. So potentially an Islamist warlord like Osama bin Laden could divorce his previous wives and bring into the fold. Respect from a Ukrainian Canadian in Toronto. Thank you, my friend. Salute. Thank you so much. Yusuf Daniel. The ex-Mufti's cousin Jamal al-Husseini opposed partition for racial reasons. Before the UN in 1947, he stated he wanted a homogeneous Arab racial zone from the Atlantic to the Indian Ocean. Yeah, that's sad. It's true. Like we see that. Like that's just the facts, guys. That's just the facts. So you will get like a lot. You'll get like a lot of people who make like all sorts of like claims about how the Palestinians welcomed the Jews in with open arms and it was the Zionists who backstabbed everybody. But then, like, if you just read about what al-Husseini was up to in World War II, it's not exactly nice reading. So, I mean, let's literally just go to the Wikipedia page. And, like, you know what's another thing? I know that there are, like, guys who, they'll, like, mock you for going onto Wikipedia. But, like, it's pretty, like, honestly, it's pretty good. Like, it's just good reading. Honestly, I love going on Wikipedia. So, let's go. Activities during World War II. So yeah, oh my God. So al-Husseini like literally helped recruit a Bosnian Waffen SS division and he gave the Nazi salute to them. He's got an SS general right next to him. Like these are not necessarily like, good activities during World War II. Yeah, that's true. That's true. Like the Assadist regime had a history of massacring Palestinians. That's absolutely true. Where are the anti-Zionists on that? Yeah, absolutely, absolutely. I mean, you know what's actually a really grim and sad fact? Prior to October 7, Assad had actually killed more Palestinians than Israel had done, like basically in the entire conflict's history of the 20th century. He killed like thousands and thousands and thousands of Palestinian civilians in the Yarmouk refugee camp. I'll bring that up actually, and it's just sad because like look, there are obviously a lot of Palestinians who hated Assad, but like if you just compare like the street marches, in Western countries to like where were the street marches like when it came to Assad, like massacring Palestinians in the Yarmouk refugee camp in Syria? I mean, that's a good question. That is literally a good question. Yeah, just going through like al-Husseini's activities in World War II. So Himmler had a romantic vision of Islam as a faith fostering fearless soldiers. And this played a significant role in his decision to raise 3 Muslim divisions under German leadership in the Balkans from Bosnian Muslims and Albanians, the 13th Hadshur, the 21st Skanderberg, and the 23rd Kama, Shepherd's Dagger. Riven by interethnic conflict, the region's Jewish, Croat, Roma, Serb, and Muslim communities suffered huge losses of life. Bosnian Muslims losing around 85,000 from a genocidal Chetnik ethnic cleansing operation alone. And obviously the Chetniks were really disgusting too. The Muslims had 3 options: to join the Croatian Ustazi, who were Nazi as well, or the Yugoslav partisans, or to create local defense units. Following a tradition of service in the old Bosnian regiments of the former Austro-Hungarian army, they chose an alliance with Germany, which promised them autonomy. Husseini, having been petitioned by the Bosnian Muslim leaders, was well informed of their plight. Dissatisfied with low enlistment, Himmler asked the Mufti to intervene. Husseini negotiated, made several requests, mostly ignored by the SS, and conducted several visits to the area. His speeches and charismatic authority proved instrumental in improving enlistment notably. So al-Husseini was literally recruiting soldiers for the Nazis in World War II. There was also the Einsatzkommando Egyptian that was prepared for action in mandatory Palestine if Rommel had won at Al Alamein. Yeah, exactly. So I believe that Hitler told al-Husseini that if they were successful in the Caucasus and if they were successful in Egypt, they would massacre the Jews in Palestine. This is why most Syrians show solidarity with Palestinians, because they hate what Assad did to Palestinians. True. Yeah. No, what Assad did was disgusting. I always hated Bashar al-Assad. Much respect for this, man. Glad I'm here from episode 1, Irabuki. Thank you, man. I appreciate that a lot. Croatia was the only nation that paid to ship the Jews to the camp. Look, I don't know if I can verify that comment, but it is genuinely very sad and scary what happened in the Balkans during World War II. Yusuf Ayman al-Husseini was appointed by the British in being Grand Mufti of Jerusalem. That's true. He wasn't originally appointed, but he did ultimately basically adopt the stature of a national figure for the Palestinian people. And there's still streets named after al-Husseini in the West Bank and Gaza today, which is, obviously a shame. Why does he look like Ryan Gosling? That's a really good point. That's a really good point, actually. You know what's also a really really scary. So if you look at the 1948 Arab-Israeli, so if you look at the 1948 Arab-Israeli war, so if you look at the belligerents on the side of the Arab League, and you go to the irregulars, the Arab Liberation Army. So you look at their emblem, and it's literally like a dagger through a Star of David, and there are people going, oh, 1948 wasn't an attempted genocide against Israelis. It wasn't an attempted genocide against the Jews. And you look at it and it's like, the Arab Rescue Army, dagger through the heart of the Star of David. That's not exactly, a peaceful sign. Green marking with a dagger stabbing a Magen David. Historical status as a flag is unknown, possibly dubious, but as a historical emblem of Simnia. Okay. Well, look, it is literally on there. It's listed as their emblem on the Wikipedia page. Leaders. Now, if you look at their leaders as well, the guy who led the Arab Liberation Army in 1948 conflict, if you look at his army service history, that's a little bit concerning. Gee, that's not good, is it? So, if you look into it, he literally, after suffering serious wounds fighting the British in Iraq, so there was the pro-Axis coup d'etat. There was a pro-Axis uprising in Iraq at the time, which al-Husseini also supported. And I'm just gonna reshare my stream. How many people watching live right now? It says 2,100. I don't know. Is this a cumulative figure or a part figure? I'm not sure. But okay. So going back to, we're just going through and reading some interesting history stuff. So Fazi al-Kawaji, and in World War II, he fought against the British in Iraq. He was transported to Vichy French-held Syria, then made his way to Nazi Germany. Remained in Germany for the remainder of World War II, recuperated from his wounds, and married a German woman named Anneliese Muller, as you do. Al-Kawaji's sojourn in Germany has been the subject of considerable controversy. Gilbert Achcar recounts stories of conflicts during his Berlin period. In his memoirs, he tells how during his stay in hospital, he came under heavy pressure from German civilian and military officials to declare his allegiance to the Führer. So this is the leader of a guy who led the Arab Liberation Army in the 1948 conflict. An elementary school named after al-Husseini. That's not good, is it? What's the deal with the Canadian guy trying to act like he has a US passport? What's behind his beef with you? Captain Dreamer, what a figure. So Captain Dreamer just decided one day that he was going to start calling me the N-word because my family's Greek. So he's unilaterally decided that I'm not white, and he reckons that I'm Turkish or something like that. It's just a stupid, it's a stupid shit post, I guess. But he's been doing this for decades. Not decades, but he's been doing this. He's literally got dozens of posts. He's been doing this for 2 months now or whatever. And he started calling me the N-word on Twitter and all this stuff. It was only at that point that I was like, okay, I'm gonna literally fight very hard back against this guy. And he's just. And then it was funny because he got fully doxxed. And then essentially what happened was he then decided that he was just going to say fuck it and start streaming with his face and his voice. And then it was really, really funny because he was streaming with his face and his voice, and he had a really, really high-pitched voice. He did not exactly present himself as the iron genius of the nation, I have to say. So it was just very funny. This guy who was calling me the N-word and was saying you will never be white, you will never be European, hiding behind his anonymous avatar. And then eventually, he makes his first video, and he literally sounds like Cam from Modern Family. It's actually very fucking funny. I've got a comment here. Watching from Barcelona. It's 6 a.m. here. That's crazy that I've got somebody in Barcelona. The power of the internet. So I've got it. So I'm looking at the live viewers. It says on Twitter 2,239. To be honest, I think unfortunately that's probably cumulative. I don't believe that there's 2,000 people watching live right now. That it would be fucking cool if that was happening. I don't think it is, sadly. But I don't know. Comment if you're watching on Twitter. Comment. I'm interested to see how many people are actually watching on Twitter right now. But I've got 20 on YouTube, and it says 2,200 on Twitter. I don't know how true that is. But what I've been saying though, I've been trying to shield my YouTube throughout the entire thing. So I encourage everybody, go to my YouTube channel and subscribe. It's very important you do this. I need to build up some following on YouTube because that's the future. I'm going to be streaming. I'm going to be making a lot more content on YouTube. That's the future. So episode 1 of the Drew Pavlu Show. Let's see. Going through some of the comments. Al-Husseini pretty much worked with a Western power in trying to annihilate the Jews. I mean, if you consider Nazi Germany to be a Western power during World War II, to be honest, I actually think that Al-Husseini was like, no, I mean, I actually think that Nazism is like a full rejection of like Western modernity, the Western Enlightenment, all this stuff. Grok, yes, historical records indicate that the independent state of Croatia, a Nazi-aligned puppet state run by the Ustazi regime, paid Nazi Germany to deport Jews to concentration camps, according to data from Himmler's SS headquarters. Crazy. Nazism is a Western and white supremacist ideology, but yet these Arabs were willing to support Nazis despite being considered racially inferior by the Nazis. You know what's really interesting? I think Hitler and the Nazis like tried to like carve out a space like within like sort of Nazi racial theory for like Arabs, because they were obviously like sympathetic to the Arab nationalist cause because they thought it was a way to undermine the British. So like I'm pretty sure there's a comment which is like kind of funny where like Hitler said something about Al-Husseini's blue eyes, which is like really mental. Where is this? Where is it? What was Hitler's thing about Al-Husseini's blue eyes? Hitler, Al-Husseini, blue eyes. Hitler was pleased with him, considering him the principal actor in the Middle East and an Aryan because of Al-Husseini's fair skin, blonde hair, and blue eyes. That's pretty mental. That's funny as hell. So, actually, it's funny. Hey, this is actually like something that keeps on coming up in the Israel-Palestine conflict. You always get these like shitty memes by like Palestinian ultranationalists, and like they'll just find like, they'll just like find like, I don't know, like Netanyahu, for example. Like obviously Netanyahu has like a fairer complexion, and like they'll say that, and then they'll be like, "See, this is proof he's Polish and should not be in the Middle East." It's like, but there are also a lot of Palestinians with a fair complexion as well. Like, I forget that girl with the blonde hair who was like one of the major protest figures in the West Bank, and like there are like literally Palestinians with like blonde hair and blue eyes, and funnily enough, Hitler gave them the Aryan status, which is actually so mental. The blue eyes thing. That's so stupid and funny. Hitler was pleased with him, considering him the principal actor in the Middle East and an Aryan because of Al-Husseini's fair skin, blonde hair, and blue eyes. So like the Nazis were just mental. Like they literally had like this absolutely mental ideology, and just their racial theory was just so schizophrenic and like just mental. It's actually very funny. Obviously it's not funny. It's like evil, but I'm just saying like it is genuinely so evil. I'm here from Twitter. Thank you so much for going from my Twitter to YouTube. Didn't Hitler also consider Persians to be Aryan? Yeah, it's true. He had a lot of weird ideas. This fellow Hitler, he did have a lot of weird ideas. He seemed to believe that. It's funny because, like, for example, like he was raising SS units of like so many different ethnicities by the end of the war, because like by the end of the war they were desperate for manpower. So by the end of like World War II, they were just like raising Muslim SS units. They were raising like SS units. I think was there an Indian SS unit? I think there was potentially the Indian Legion. So yeah, like in World War II, it's so mental, right? Like holy shit, the Waffen SS had like the Azantine Free India Legion, and they had like a Muslim division too. So it's really crazy. Like, so I've actually also noticed like there's this like narrative among some like Nick Fuentes type, how there are like esoteric divisions and splits in like the far right fascist movement. So like you see there are people on the sort of like Nick Fuentes wing of it, and their argument is that like Hitler was actually like racially tolerant of every people on earth other than the Jews, which is just so mental. And like they use that to try and like justify or defend. I didn't even know, like, what are they even trying to do? I don't even know. Like, they use that to, who even knows? I think they use that to, like, I think Nick Fuentes tries to use that sort of thing as, like, justification for his, like, remember when he was trying to do the Muslim-Christian Unity Alliance against Jews, which is just so mental. Thank you so much. I've got another donation. Ryan Howe. Hi, your recent video of Trump Maoism was great. Seize the means of reproduction. Thank you so much. I really support you. Thank you so much, Ryan. I appreciate that a lot. Canadian as well. That's great. Are you going to do any content with Destiny still? Dude, I would. I actually would. I've never really talked to him directly. I was going to do his podcast, but his podcast is now over. They're not doing the podcast anymore. But I would do something with Destiny. I like him still. It's a shame that YouTube is the future, given Elon's commitment to free speech and Google's failures with that. But I can see why you would. Listen, Daniel, like I get your point, but like the thing is, I've seen lots of people banned from Twitter because Elon doesn't like them. So like, you know, he does talk about, I mean, he talks about, you know, free speech, but he's like banned people because he doesn't like them. Lots of former SS officers and soldiers turned up in the region after World War II and ingratiated themselves with the Muslim Brotherhood. Yeah, there were Assad, actually, this is a famous one. Assad SS guy, Aloy Brunner. So this guy helped Assad set up his like torture regime, which is just sick, right? Like Aloy Brunner. And literally he's buried in Damascus. Dude, you know what would be so goated? If I could go to Syria, I'd piss on his grave. I'd literally go to piss on his grave. You guys should donate towards that. Pay for my flight to Syria and I'll go piss on Aloy Brunner's grave. So he was convicted in absentia in France for crimes against humanity. Assad sheltered him because he like literally helped set up the torture regime for Assad. Alois Brunner. Yeah, sorry. I've got an Australian accent. Come on. Destiny is such a radioactive person to associate yourself with. Why is that? Tell me your thoughts. I don't know. How do I jump on the stream with him? Tell him to have me on. Tell him to have me on. I'm not sure if he would have me on, but I would love to go on. As soon as Japan started the full-scale invasion of the ROC, Nazi Germany realized it had been trading with the ROC and dumped them. There actually were, there were actual, there were ties between Chiang Kai-shek and Nazi Germany, KMT and Nazism. The KMT were interesting. The KMT had ties with both the Soviet Union and Nazi Germany prior to the invasion of, crazy. They actually had like early military cooperation, something like that. So I've always disliked the KMT very strongly. Obviously, I hate the CCP, but I've always disliked the KMT very strongly. Suleiman Ahmed. Yeah, Suleiman Ahmed was the that's the guy that Nick Fuentes wanted to do the coalition with, which was very funny. Yeah, this is it. This is the stupid thing that Nick Fuentes was trying to do. It's actually so funny that they tried this. So what happened was look at this shit, right? Like they were like really like they were trying this shit really hard. They were trying to do this like kind of like Christian fundamentalist, Muslim fundamentalist alliance against Jews. And what ended up happening was I think Nick Fuentes got clowned on so much by other people in the far right that he ended up having to like renounce Suleiman Ahmed. And then he started saying like that he actually hated Islam and everything. But it's funny because at the start he was trying so hard to sort of build up this like really insane cringe, like the Muslim Christian alliance. And it's just so mental. And the reason why they try and like do this shit is like they try and say, oh well, we both venerate Jesus, and I mean it's just silly to say. It is pretty funny. World's greatest ally against Sock. Days since the last friendship bombing, 0. So just stab your little girl. Before you post, consider it's actually Israel's fault. So yeah, that's kind of like the Nick Fuentes, the alliance with Suleiman Ahmed. I like Destiny too. Christian, yeah, look, it's like fundamentalists on both sides. It's literally just like crazy Islamist fundamentalists and crazy Christian fundamentalists. Both of them have like so little to do with like the actual reality of their faiths. It's just literally mental illness, and they just hate Jews. Look how funny this is. Like, look who was commenting a love heart on the stupid Nick Fuentes, Suleiman Ahmed thing, Dr. Anastasia Lupus. And this lady's insane as well. She's one of the worst pro-Russia people on Twitter. And if you look at like, oh my God, man, that's fucked up. That's fucked up. That's so fucked up. And she's promoting Lucas Cage. Do you guys remember Lucas Cage? That guy was fucking funny. He was like a full Nazi, and he started posting that he thought that the Jews were trying to get his wife to divorce him or something like that. Just like a full schizophrenic, just so mentally ill. Oh my God, Dr. Lupus. And she's supporting the Grand Alliance against the Jews between Suleiman Ahmed and Nick Fuentes. Housey, Chris Nicolo, thank you so much. The Syrian Sojourn Fund. That would be so housey. So let me explain this to people, right? Alois Brunner, I probably butchered the pronunciation. I'm sorry. So he was an SS captain during World War II, and he played a significant role in the implementation of the Holocaust, which is obviously horrific. He was known as Final Solution Architect. He was known as the right-hand man to Adolf Eichmann, which is like mental. Now, Brunner was responsible for sending over 100,000 European Jews from Austria, Greece, France, and Slovakia to ghettos and concentration camps in Eastern Europe. He oversaw the deportation of 47,000 Austrian Jews. In Greece, 43,000 Jews were deported in 2 months from Thessaloniki. He was the commander of the Drency internment camp. He sent people to gas chambers. Now, at the end of World War II, he eluded capture, fled West Germany, first to Egypt, then Syria, where he remained until his death. In Syria, Brunner was granted asylum by the Ba'athist regime and assisted Hafez al-Assad, Bashar's dad, assisted Hafez al-Assad in organizing the Ba'athist secret police and trained them on Nazi torture practices. Like, that's so mental. So he literally helped Assad set up like the worst torture dungeons, one of the worst in the entire world. And when the Assad regime fell a couple months ago, I still can't believe that happened. It's just crazy. They were just uncovering all these horrific, absolutely horrific dungeons. And this guy helped them set them up. And he was the object of many manhunts, investigations, assassination attempts by the Mossad. I wish Mossad got him. That would have been so goated. In 1954, he was convicted in absentia in France of crimes against humanity and sentenced to death, later commuted to life imprisonment. France had abolished the death penalty. In Syria, he lost an eye and then fingers on his left hand as a result of letter bombs sent to him by Mossad. And that's goated. Salute to Mossad. That is absolutely goated. This guy literally killed hundreds of thousands of people. So that's so goated. They took out his eye. I wish they took him out fully. Jacob says, love the streams. Thank you so much. Syrian girl can be your flight attendant. Very true. Hi, chat from Confirmation Bias. Thank you so much. Never tell Lucas Gage who Sicilians cluster with genetically. Is he Italian? Is Lucas Gage Italian? That's actually really funny. I didn't know that. The same Nick fuckface that claims age of consent laws is a feminist plot to influence. That's crazy, right? All the neo-Nazis, they all have really insane views on consent and all this insane stuff. So Nick Fuentes, Joel Davis, all these guys are really sick. These guys are really sick. They've all like said really insane shit. If you are going at this angle of being the disagreeable and confident liberal, you can't associate yourself with a dude who is a literal cuck. Sure, it's shallow, but just off team. I think you're talking about Destiny. Listen, I don't agree with Destiny's lifestyle practices. I have to say, I'm a lot more conservative in my own personal life practices. But he's a nice man. I'm sure he's a nice man. And I want to go on Destiny's stream. I probably agree with him on most political matters. Perhaps not on personal life practices, but on a lot of other things, I probably agree with him. Most Syrians also hate Hezbollah because that terrorist organization backed Assad and mass murder Syrians. Absolutely true. Absolutely true. So this is the crazy thing. Like one of the first, this is a hard thing, right? I bet Daniel, I think Daniel's still watching. I bet Daniel might have a disagreement with me on this. So remember like when Assad was overthrown, and I know there were like a lot of people who are like quite strong Zionists, and they were saying like, don't trust the Islamists who've taken over. Assad was horrible, but these guys are going to be worse, etc. A lot of people said that Israel has been very hostile to the new government in Syria. Like, look, obviously HTS has this absolutely horrific past. That's just absolutely objective fact. That said, though, I was obviously happy when Assad fell because this guy was just absolutely sick. I mean, he literally set up a torture camp system with Alois Brunner, one of like Eichmann's second right-hand man. And so I was like so happy when Assad fell. And I had all these guys going like, oh no, you've fallen for the propaganda. You're stupid, Drew. Don't do that. But like, look how sick these guys are, man. Like Assad literally he was giving refuge to Nazis. This is the Assad regime, So of course I was going to be happy when they fell. And they literally, he didn't even die till 2010. That's sick. That's absolutely crazy. So Brunner was last seen in 2001 in Syria, whose government had long rebuffed international attempts to locate or apprehend him, was presumed dead as of 2012. So he died in Syria in 2010. He would have been 97 or 98 years old. That's crazy. That's so sick that he literally ended up dying peacefully in his bed. This sick guy who was responsible for so many of the atrocities of the Holocaust. That's horrible. I really, really wish that this guy had been apprehended. How many have we got right now? We've got 26 on YouTube. It's growing a bit on YouTube. 27 on YouTube. Thank you guys. 2,600 on Twitter. We've got to flip those numbers, guys. We've got to flip those numbers. So anyway, Aloy Brunner, former German Secret Service agent, found he was dead. Brunner was buried in an unknown location in Damascus around 2010, unrepentant of his crimes to the end. Owing to the civil war in Syria, the exact location of Brunner's grave was unknowable. Man, given that the Assad regime has fallen, I really hope that there's a way to somehow locate his grave, because that, like, you know, I'd love to piss on it. 3 former security guards in charge of the protection of Bruno recounted how the Assad family used him to train intelligence services staff, then afterwards kept him under house arrest in a Damascus basement through the 1990s until his death in 2001. Gee, one of the former guards said that Bruno, who went by the name Abu Hussein, suffered and cried a lot in his final years, couldn't even wash and ate only an egg or a potato a day. I mean, that's pretty good, I guess, if that's true. He converted to Islam. Interesting. Bruno was buried in secret at night in the Al-Afif cemetery in Damascus. The Al-Afif cemetery. Wow. Gee, think of how many lives that saved. Yeah, look, to be honest, I probably can't go. I probably can't go. I'd actually love to go to Syria, but I think because of the stance that I've taken against Hamas and stuff, it's just like too dangerous. Because I think one of the horrible things Giuliani did do, I think he basically let Hamas like sort of operate again. I think Giuliani has allowed Hamas to operate again, which is horrible, obviously. Ask everyone to like too, bro. Helps the streams. Guys, if you're watching, please smash the like button. Smash the like button. It'll help us reach more people. Help us smash the like button. I'm just going to get a water, my friends. I'm going to get a water. Stay there. I'm just getting a water. Stay there, my friends. Had to get a water. Absolutely. I'd love to piss on the tomb of Khomeini after Iran becomes free. You know, I found out the other day that Pol Pot's grave, like, you can literally just walk right up to it in Cambodia. And I was thinking to myself, like, I've got to go to Cambodia and, like, piss on it. Like, imagine, right? You can literally just go right up to Pol Pot's grave. That's absolutely, like, an opportunity, right? Like, I would absolutely go do that. Has anyone here seen Da Men before? Just a random question. I don't know what that is. If it would make you feel better, you can imagine that Bruno was in a deep sleep and the people who found his body thought he was dead, so they buried him alive. Aloy Brunner. Yeah, he's a sicko. Our governments aren't cheering on those other genocides. What are you talking about? What are anti-Zionists on the far left and far right when Russia and its allies genocide Muslims like Uyghurs, Chechens, Bosnia? Yeah, it's a good point. Literally good point. You know what's so funny? Like, Russia's relationship with the Islamic world is so schizophrenic, because you've got like Putin. Putin will go out and he'll like kiss like gold-plated Qurans with like Kadyrov, and he'll like say like dumb stuff, like he'll be like, Islam is like a central part of Russia and all this stuff. And then like in the next breath, he's like then committing genocide against like Muslims. So he's just got a fully schizophrenic relationship with the Islamic world. And it's just so mental that there are like, Islamic extremists who like Russia just because he's anti-America. Keep up the good work, Drew. Got to go to sleep. Good night from Texas. Thank you so much, V-Reckon. Thank you so much. I really appreciate that. We had people from all around the world watching. We've got 28 people watching live on YouTube right now. So, guys, if you're watching live on YouTube, please like and comment and just like help me boost the stream. I'll keep streaming for a bit longer. I can see why Hassan Piker says that this is a harder job than coal mining now, because it's actually very difficult. It's very difficult to talk so much for so long about so little. Russia is based. So true, Maliki. Cringe as fuck. I literally was in Ukraine last month and I saw absolute heinous atrocities by Russia. Yeah, absolutely. Putin is persecuting the Crimean Tatar Muslims in Crimea. And I think actually the defense minister of Ukraine is Muslim. I don't know. To be honest, I don't think I even really like disagree with Destiny on much politically. I think the only big disagreement I'd have with is like, You know, sometimes his rhetoric, like I get that he's trolling MAGA people, but like I didn't like when he was like joking about that Corey guy who got shot at the Trump rally because like you know, it's hard, right? My own parents are Trump supporters. Like obviously, I really don't like Trump. Obviously, I don't support MAGA and all that stuff. I hate MAGA, but my own parents are Trump supporters. I know so many conservative. I have so many conservative family members, and you can't change that, right? So I didn't like you know Destiny making fun of people getting shot. I think that was horrible. But on a lot of like just normal political things, I do actually agree with. I agree. I agree with Jennifer. Fuck you, Maliki. Dude, Maliki, you're talking about like the extreme ultra orthodox guys, the guys who don't even serve in the IDF. They're the ultra orthodox, and most people in Israeli society actually hate those crazy ultra orthodox people. Canadian neocon David from Speculate Trump will abandon Israel like he did Ukraine. Thoughts? I actually think I think it's actually possible. Like, you know what's interesting? When you had Liberation Day, when you had Liberation Day, Trump actually put higher tariffs on Israel than he had on Iran, and it just didn't even make sense. Like I still don't even understand why he did that. It was just so crazy and dumb. Read the Torah. Oh, okay, Maliki, you've read the Torah, mate. So true. I think a good way for you to grow is to do reactions to far left and far right videos you disagree with. You can then clip it for videos on your channel. Yeah, good point. Comment some videos if you think you think I should react to. It'd be funny. His parents are Trump supporters too. Is that Destiny? So Destiny's parents are Trump supporters. Yeah, man, it's hard. My parents, and obviously I love my parents and my grandparents. They all love Trump. And what can you do? Like, so that's why I really don't like Trump. I obviously really don't like the MAGA movement, but I didn't like when Destiny was joking about the Corey Milankowski. I think his name was Milankowski, whatever. I didn't like when Destiny joked about that because I don't like Trump, but I've got loved ones who are Trump supporters, right? And yeah, this is a funny comment from that Daniel guy. You've literally never ever read the Torah, like ever. Yeah, as if this Malachi guy has actually read the Torah. That's so stupid. As if. Read the 5 books of Moses in the Old Testament, which are of central importance in Christianity, and you'll learn that Zios are evil. Yeah, it's so dumb, right? Like the Old Testament is like literally like, you know, drawing upon the Torah, right? Yeah, exactly. That's very well said, Jennifer. Look, I'm Christian. I hate this like chauvinistic Christian fringe. Like the guys who, you know, those guys like Nick Fuentes recently admitted that he uses the Christ is King thing just to like harass Ben Shapiro and stuff. And like it really is like a disgrace to Christianity to do that. Like it's so against like the message of Jesus to just like use his name in vain like that just to harass people from other different religions. Malaki, the Torah calls Goyim no humans. Daniel, you clown. No, it doesn't. Yeah, these people are fucking idiots, man. These guys, like Malaki, have you even read a book in your entire life? Did you graduate from the Instagram Seminary of Torah Studies? Yeah, this is what these guys do. They will find like Nazi translations of the Torah that add up, like that will just literally invent quotes and stuff like that, and then they'll be like, "Now I'm like literally a Torah expert." Like that's what these guys do. Any Noah Samson video on Ethan Klein recently would be good. Okay, that's interesting. Noah Samson. What's he been doing? Let me get that up. Okay. Noah Samson. Oh, this guy looks like fucking. This guy looks bad. This guy looks terrible. Guys, we've got 26 live viewers on YouTube, 2,900 on Twitter. If you're watching, please like and retweet. Help me reach more people. Okay, should I watch the genocide supporting YouTubers? Can you guys tell me if you can hear this? Tell me if I'm not sure if my audio is working. Tell me if you can hear this. Can you guys hear that? If Nick Fuentes is wrong, why is he banned from anything? Dude, you can say that about anything. Like somebody can just like go to the somebody can go to the local shopping center and throw shit at the walls and then just be like, "Oh, I was banned because they can't handle the truth." And you're just throwing like feces at the wall. What can you even do? No sound. I don't know how to fix that, my friends. I don't know how to fix that, unfortunately. I'm trying to look. Hang on. Present. It's audio not playing from YouTube on Twitter. I'm sorry. I'm not sure how to fix that. Okay, maybe we'll have to do the Twitter. Maybe we'll have to do that one next time. I'll keep responding to Twitter comments for now. Maliki, you're just throwing shit at the wall, and then you're like, wow, the shopping center banned me for life because they can't handle the truth. And you're just throwing shit at the wall like a monkey. Was Pisco right, Drew? Unfortunately, Pisco was right. I still think I was right about the grooming gang scandal in Britain. That was genuinely really fucked up. Obviously, Elon used that for like bad purposes, but it is true that it was fucked up. And I was right about that. But Pisco was right that Elon is a psychopath. Ryan Howe, the sooner Putin falls, the better. Absolutely agree. Absolutely agree. Destiny's argument for defending why he didn't care about the guy who died was that MAGA people constantly insult people who disagree, so he's not going to hold himself to a high standard. I mean, yeah, I get that. I still don't think it's smart, right, to like mock. I don't know. I still think it's like pretty bad politically to do that, right? When did I or Nick throw shit at the wall? Like that's the verbal equivalent of what you're doing, mate. That's the verbal equivalent. Yeah, oh my God, Michael West on Twitter posting random out of context Talmud quotes to say Israel bad. Michael West has been really radicalized. He's been really radicalized, that guy. He started out as a lefty. And he's been so radicalized. It's actually really, really bad. So he's doing like the Talmud quote dumb shit. That's mental. Okay, what are my comments saying? Philip says, we Jews recite from the Torah every Shabbat in a manner similar to how Muslims recite from the Quran. Look, at the end of the day, we're all Abrahamic faiths. I wish there was some way that we could all have unity and we didn't have to have this horrific, constant religious war. In your opinion, was Israel right to attack Syria right after the fall of Assad to destroy their weapons and set up the buffer? I think they were right to destroy the chemical weapons. That said, I wish that they had destroyed the chemical weapons earlier. That said, I mean, sorry, that's an interesting one, right? Like some people were trying to say, oh, the fact that Israel didn't blow up Assad's chemical weapons stockpile shows that they didn't care about Arab lives, blah, blah. But to be honest, like Assad was under Russian protection up until like December, right? So, I mean, it kind of makes sense why they weren't able to do it earlier because they feared that Russia would intervene. I understand that point. I think they were right to destroy, the chemical weapons stockpiles in Syria. I don't want them to fall into the hands of bad actors, and the chemical weapons stockpiles just shouldn't have ever been in Syria in the first place. The Pavlovians want a Destiny Drew debate. We wouldn't even really debate. We'd probably just be agreeing on most things. But yeah, look, I like this. I do like Destiny. I do like him. Have you seen the Douglas Murray versus Dave Smith debate on Rogan? Actually, that'd be so interesting to react to. That'd be so interesting. I don't know how to fix my audio problem. I've got to fix that. Listen, I do favor a two-state solution, but I don't see how you could just abandon the West Bank tomorrow and then suddenly there wouldn't be, an invasion of Israel. Ukraine is friendly to its Muslim population. That's very true. Are there any other new comments that I got to... Who will fall first? Xi, Putin, Trump, elbow. I don't know. I think elbows. I don't know. That's a tough one. Hey, I was thinking that I thought that elbow was for sure going to lose the election. I thought elbow was going to for sure lose the election, but doesn't seem that way to me. The polling's starting to shift, so we'll see what happens. John McElroy using third-party platforms, StreamYard. Yeah, so I'm using StreamYard right now. I just don't know how to. So I'm using StreamYard, and I'm sharing one of my windows. I don't know how to put audio on in that window. Maybe somebody knows. Yeah, Dutton's been running like the worst political campaign ever. I actually don't even know what he's been doing. There's been a radicalization problem in Canada, something that wasn't the case 10 years ago. This is why the people of Canada must vote against Mark fucking Carney. It's bad. There is a lot of really bad radicalization in Canada. It's a shame. Are you the inventor of MAGA Maoism? Look, I wish I was the full outright inventor. There were people who talked about Trump being like Mao first. There were people who talked about that before I did. But I guess over the past week, I did talk a lot about MAGA Maoism, and it did probably help get it out there into the world. And look, I have a recent YouTube video on it, and I encourage everybody to go through and like it because it's very important. It's very important that we try and get this video out there to the people. We've got, how many people have we got? We've got 840 views. It deserves so much more. We put so much effort into that one. So I encourage everyone to go through and like. Bernardo, it's good to see you live. Thank you so much, Bernardo. Thank you. Your fan base should be called the Pavlovians. I don't know. Look at that. Maybe that sounds a little bit cultish, but maybe the Drew Deists, the Favlu. We'll think about it. Okay, this guy's telling me how to do it. Okay, sign up. Create an account on StreamYard. Yep, done that. Connect YouTube. Done that. Link your YouTube channel. Authorize live streaming. Done that. Add video in StreamYard. Use the share screen or... Okay. Let me change my screen. Okay. I'm going to try again. Okay. Share screen. Okay. Some screens let you share audio. Look for the share audio checkbox on the next window. Okay. To share audio. Oh, okay. I've got a share tab. Okay. Gonna get this up. Okay. All right. I think I've worked out how to do it, my friends. Okay. Hang on. So I will go to... What one should we watch first? Should we do Ethan Klein or the radicalization? This is an interesting comment by Yusuf. The radicalization in Canada is anti-Canadian because it may destabilize Canada. But by the way, I'd like to see you react to the most recent pro-Hamas rally that happened in Ottawa. Damn, I didn't see that one actually. Does anybody have a link to that? That's horrible. There's been some really horrible ones. Ottawa. Yeah, if you guys have a link, please send that. I posted the video to the desk. Oh, thank you, Internet. I think I did see that. I think I potentially saw that in the subreddit. Thank you so much for doing that. Please help me share that video around on the on Reddit and stuff, because there's some big subreddits and stuff like that, and could be a good way to boost the YouTube. I appreciate you. Thank you very much. Don't show this live stream on your stream or you'll rip a hole in the space-time continuum. Good point. It's because, so Yuki, it's because I have to actually, like select text to put them onto the screen. So I don't know, maybe that's a StreamYard thing. Maybe I should try Streamlabs. I don't know if any of you guys have experience with like Streamlabs versus StreamYard and stuff like that. If you guys have any experience, let me know. Are you Labour or Liberal this election, Drew? I actually don't know. I actually kind of feel like no candidate represents my will. It's a very sad thing. Yeah, it's a sad thing, I have to say, my friends. Where's my YouTube one? Hang on. Sorry, I'm gonna get this back up. Share screen. Share screen. Okay. Share tab. Share audio. Okay. Now I go to Ethan Klein, Samson, whatever it was. Noah Samson. Okay, let me watch this shit. Okay, Noah Samson. The genocide. Okay, tell me if the audio works now.
Who backed a genocide. There have been some developments. Ethan Klein responded to the video with an Instagram.
Can you guys hear the audio? Is the radicalization in Canada worse than Australia? That's a tough one. I think it's actually probably roughly similar. Oh, it works. It works. Landy tells me it works. Thank you very much. Oh, we've got someone from Singapore. Thank you very much. Thank you, man. Listen, I like Singapore. I respect the legacy of Lee Kuan Yew. Very cool to have a Singaporean following us here. Leo Puglisi has said he's not even voting at this election. On a serious, non-jestful note, what are your thoughts on Babbitt and Rennick? Babbitt's a clown. Rennick I've actually talked to in real life. We got coffee like 5 years ago because he did support me when the University of Queensland was trying to expel me. So I appreciate him for that. That said, he has some pretty strange and out there views when it comes to both Russia and also to the Jewish people more generally. And so I have to disagree with him on those things, I have to say. Do you think Pisco being rude to you was justified? Look, I forgive him. Let's forgive all. Let's all be friends. Dave Smith, Douglas Murray. Actually, okay, look, let's watch Douglas Murray first. Okay, Joe Rogan. Okay.
Sorry, it's your show, but
Sure.
If you're going to interview...
How's this guy working? Okay. So, okay, I'll start from the start.
Joe Rogan Podcast, check it out.
The Joe Rogan Experience.
Train by day, Joe Rogan Podcast by night.
Oh, sorry.
Sorry,
I'd like to put it on
if you're
1.5 speed.
What's happening? All right, we're out. Thanks for coming. Good to see you guys. What's happening? Are you going no headphones?
Oh.
Keep the do?
I'm not quite sure what they add, but yeah.
There we go. All right. The goal of this is every time I see people that disagree with anything that's happening, any gigantic world events, it's one of these retarded shows where they're screaming. There's the word again. I brought it.
Yeah.
We're just talking about
You
that.
did it early.
The word retarded is back. And it's one of the great
That's one area I do agree with Joe Rogan on. I like the word retard. It's good. And listen, I have ADHD. I've been diagnosed with it, so I'm reclaiming the word. Very well said, Andrew. Very well said. We do need an intro. Now, in the future, we're going to have to build this channel up. Now, this is the first one. We've got 20. I think we had 30 live streamers at peak on YouTube. I think at peak we had a couple hundred on Twitter. We're going to have to try build it up. We're going to have to try build it up. Okay, so I'm gonna be watching and reacting a bit to the Joe Rogan thing.
Culture victories that I think is spurred on probably by podcasts, but these things are always like Pierce Morgan, which is fine. You know, where everyone's screaming over each other, and you know, there's 5 different people talking over each other. There's never just rational conversations where you discuss things, and I respect both of you. I think both of you are brilliant, and I bet you agree on a lot of things. I bet you disagree on a lot of things, and it'd be fascinating to see your perspectives on these things. So that's why you're here together.
Okay.
And
Can I ask you something?
Yes, sir.
Since the war in Israel began and since the war in Ukraine began, you've had quite a lot of people who are very against both in different ways.
Yes.
Do you think you've had enough people on who are supportive of either war?
I don't know that word enough, if that's a good word.
Let's say enough people who are on the side of Israel instead of wild critics.
Well, I've had a few. I mean, I believe God Sad is on the side of Israel.
For sure.
Jordan is on the side of Israel.
You had Mike Baker, Coleman Hughes.
Yeah.
Coleman did it for like 20 minutes, so it wasn't why he was here.
No, I mean, none of them is why they're here. You know, it's a good question.
Do you think you've tilted one way?
Me personally?
No, just with the guests.
The guests, yeah, probably more tilted towards the idea that perhaps the way they've done it is barbaric.
Mm-hmm. But why do you think that is? Just out of interest. I'm just interested in your selection of guests because you're like the world's number one podcast.
Yeah, it's not.
That's a good point by Daniel here.
I don't think about it that way. I just think I'd like to talk to this person.
But can I just? Sorry, it's your show. But
sure.
If you're going to interview historians of the conflict or historians in general.
Mm-hmm.
Why would you get somebody like Ian Carroll or?
Yeah, but Ian Carroll, I didn't bring him on for that purpose. I brought him on because I want to find out, like, how does one get involved in the whole conspiracy theory business? Because his whole thing is just conspiracies.
Sure.
You know?
But do you have any, I mean, there's been a tilt in the conversation, in both conversations in the last couple of years. And it's largely to do with people who have appointed themselves experts who are not experts.
You mean
I got a comment here. I gonna watch the whole podcast. I'm not gonna watch the whole 3-hour thing. Maybe we'll watch like 20-30 minutes. If you're unable to click on the link, just Yusuf, your link didn't come through. Okay, going back to Daniel. Going back to Dave Smith.
I don't think he appoints himself an expert in anything.
Who's that other dude who thinks he's an expert on Churchill?
Daryl Cooper does not think he's an expert.
In fact, I think it's everybody else is always calling him an expert, and he's like, I'm just a history.
Have you ever
nerd.
absorbed any of his material? Have you ever consumed any of his podcasts or anything like that?
I tried.
Yeah?
It's pretty hard to listen to somebody who says, I don't know what I'm
Thank you,
talking about.
Mercenary. Thank you for the donation. We're actually getting some donations.
Or I don't know about
Very good.
this, or I'm not capable of debating this historian, but I'm going to just tell you what I think.
Thank you very much. I appreciate it.
Yeah, but that's not exactly what
bit
Daryl was saying. I mean, Daryl's point of view, however you feel about this, what Daryl's saying is he doesn't really like doing debates. He likes to do long format stuff where he can really explain his position.
If you throw a lot of shit out there's some point at which I'm just raising questions is not a valid thing.
Like, that's a pretty fair point. That's a pretty fair point because, like, Daryl Cooper is, after all, the guy who, like, you know, he put up a photo of Churchill, said, like, I mean, no, didn't put up a photo of Churchill. He just basically said Churchill was the chief villain of World War II. He said that the Holocaust is, he said that Jews were killed in World War II, but it was essentially a mistake by the Nazis, not deliberate, because he basically said, oh, you know, they just had too many prisoners of war. Like, this guy he's some pretty horrible revisionist shit out there.
Mm-hmm.
You're not raising questions. You're not asking questions. You're telling people something.
Do you think Daryl's doing that?
I think there's a whole bunch of guys doing that.
I think
Dave is doing that, very obviously. Dave's a comedian, but he's now mainly talking about Israel.
No, I don't know if I'm mainly talking about Israel.
That's all I see you
I have
on the
opinions.
internet doing.
Yeah, but that's you.
Well, that might be what you've seen.
It's
but
just
I don't
you
think that's.
consuming
But that is also your shtick now, isn't it?
Well, what do you mean by that's my shtick?
Well, you're not a geopolitics guy in general, are you?
I don't even know exactly what you're asking.
I'm saying you've decided, being a comedian, you've decided now to become somebody who talks about Israel
This
and the
is not,
conflict.
I think you're incorrect. I don't think it's a decision. I just think you
Well-
have long form conversations, multiple of them. It's a huge event that's in the news, so it comes up. I don't
I
think
know,
it's a
but-
thing. I think if you're on the outside, you'd say, "Oh, look,
It's kind of crazy for Joe Rogan to be like, oh, it just comes up. It just comes up. We're not planning on it. When he's like literally had like Ian Carroll on. Like some of these guys are like obsessively, like hateful towards Jews. And that's like Ian Carroll, for example. But keep on going.
they're trying to get attention by talking about this very
Thank you.
polarizing
That's actually a
issue
very nice
publicly."
point.
That's
But they
not-
do,
I
you
love
do get attention.
It's
from
just,
them.
I think of it.
If you'd spent the
Sure.
last year speaking about Myanmar, you would not be on my lips.
Yeah, but
or a
he
lot of other
does
people's.
talk about Yemen
hero.
constantly. He talks about a lot of
Mhm.
things that aren't in the news.
Well, I
constantly.
tend to
It's a
talk
quarter
about the
Christian.
conflicts that my government is directly involved in, which I think is reasonable to me. But I don't quite get like what's all the
It's a sad thing, isn't it? It's a sad thing. Is Joe Rogan a lost cause? Like, it's pretty sad, eh? I remember like a year ago. If you asked me a year ago, like, would have been a dream of mine to go on Joe Rogan's show. And like now, I'm like watching it. I'm like, damn, man, he's literally having on some of the most retarded people on earth. It's actually a shame. Like that's how I look at it now, right?
appeal to authority stuff? I mean, what you have
Well,
to
I
be an
do-
expert, or
No,
and
I think
what exactly
authority
makes
matters.
you
I
an
think
expert?
authority matters, and I think that if you just throw a lot of shit out there and then say I'm not interested in the alternative views on this, and particularly when it's a counter narrative that is wildly off, and when you get people with this, look, I just feel we should get it out straight away. I feel you've opened the door to quite a lot of people who've now got a big platform, who have been throwing out counter historical stuff of a very dangerous kind.
You mean Daryl? Are you talking about Daryl?
Daryl, who's the other one?
I don't think Daryl has.
Derek.
I don't think there's anything
Derek,
dangerous
what's
about
the
what
other guy? Derek. What's his name?
Like, just as a, I'm just gonna get up. I want to get up an example of like one of the crazy things that Daryl Cooper's put out there. Anyway, yeah. Sorry, I'll put that back on. Wait, hang on. Sorry, I clicked the wrong thing. Where is it? Oh, the Joe Rogan. Yeah. Here we go.
Cooper, is it? Which one is it?
No, that's
No, that's
Daryl.
Daryl
Daryl
Cooper. Daryl
Cooper.
Cooper.
Who's the other one? There was one I just checked before on the way here. Daryl Cooper, and then
That's true.
yeah,
That's true.
Daryl
That's
Cooper, Ian
actually true.
Carroll.
That's one of the most
Look,
annoying
these
things.
guys are not historians. They're not knowledgeable
Oh,
about anything.
no one's calling
Yeah,
Ian
I
Carroll.
know,
a
No, but
historian.
then why
Even-
listen to their views on Churchill?
Daryl is
Well, why
incredibly
listen-
knowledgeable.
It's not.
It's just
He's not.
Yeah,
He's
he
not.
is.
He's
But he's
incredible.
Wildly-
He's incredibly knowledgeable. Like this guy, this guy like famously refused to debate Andrew Roberts, who's the preeminent historian on Churchill. I've actually got that book here as well. Where is it? Where's my Churchill book? I'm trying to remember where I put my Churchill book. I have it somewhere. Oh yeah, Andrew Roberts. Yeah. Like Andrew Roberts wrote the book on Churchill, and Daryl Cooper refused to debate him.
Several reasons. One is when he was offered to debate
I agree with you, Ryan.
The
I agree
current-
with you.
greatest living biographer of Churchill, he said, I can't because he knows much more than me and I admire his work and I've learned from it, but I can't possibly debate him. That's Andrew Roberts.
But you don't have to be able to debate people to have opinions.
Yeah, that's where I like lost so much respect for Joe Rogan, where he was literally just saying like the Ukraine should surrender and just like let their country be just raped and destroyed. Like, and this guy like sort of presents himself to be a champion of masculinity, but at the same time, like he's just telling the Ukrainians, when your home is invaded and your family members are killed and raped, just accept it. I mean, that's just sick, right?
No,
opinions on
you don't
things.
have to debate people.
If
But
it's not
you,
your thing.
But if you, for instance, but if you say, I've decided that Churchill is the bad guy in
It's not
World
what he
War
said.
II,
It's not what he said. It's not what he said.
neither
That's actually exactly what he said. If you look at the tweet, that's exactly what that is literally word for word exactly what Daryl Cooper said. He literally said Churchill was the chief villain of World War II.
Carroll nor Cooper have said that.
Well, listen, I don't know what Carol said, but Daryl Cooper's not said that. What he said was he jokes with his friend Jocko, who's an Anglo-Saxon. He jokes with him, I think that Churchill was the secret villain of World War II. And what he's
Mm.
saying is, by Churchill's actions, the war escalated. He's
Wonderful.
not saying anything.
He's not
that-
just asking questions, then, is he?
No, but
He's got
that's
a
the
point of
claim
view.
isn't that he's just asking questions. Yeah, he has a point of view.
And
you
his-
can explain this better. He
Well,
literally
Yes,
says
he
he's
said
joking.
in the comment, he goes, listen, I'm being hyperbolic. And then he once again disclaimed, he goes, and I'm not claiming Churchill committed the most atrocities or was the worst part. But in many ways, I do view him as the chief villain, as my hyperbolic, provocative statement. But
what's
Douglas,
the point of that?
well, okay, but Pat Buchanan wrote an entire book on this. Is he not allowed? Is he not an...
That's so fucking funny. Pat Buchanan, he wrote a whole book on it, man. Is he not allowed to talk on it? Like, anybody can write a whole book about anything. Pat Buchanan was a fucking idiot. He was literally like, he was a full-blown Holocaust revisionist. Pat Buchanan was a Pat Buchanan was a full Holocaust revisionist, and he like dedicated his career to trying to get Nazi war criminals, like trying to stop them from being extradited to Europe to face judgment in their last days. Like, Pat Buchanan was a fucking disgrace.
expert? Is he not allowed to be
He's certainly
interviewed?
not an expert. He can be interviewed. I've watched Pat Buchanan debate. I watched Pat Buchanan debate against Churchill historians, and he was absolutely leveled because he doesn't know what he's talking about.
When did Pat Buchanan debate and get
That was
leveled?
about 20 years ago.
I'm just
He
curious. I
debated
haven't seen
against
this.
Andrew Roberts and several other historians at Intelligence Squared in London. I was there. He didn't know what he was talking about.
There's a comment. Have you met Doug? I actually have. Believe it or not, I actually have. Let me show you the photo. He came to Brisbane for I think it was a debate against it was against Cornell West, and I got a photo with Cornell West, and I got a photo with Douglas Murray, and I was wearing a shirt that had like Carhartt on it. I think it was like a Carhartt. It was a Carhartt shirt that said Detroit 58. And at the end, and I was sitting in like the front row, and at the end when I shook Douglas Murray's hand, he was like, "Oh, what happened in Detroit in 58?" I was looking at your shirt. I was like, "Oh, I don't know, man. I just had a shirt." Like, he's a nice guy. He's a nice guy. I got to try to find the photo of me and Douglas Murray. Anyway, sorry. I'll go back to I'll put the video back on.
He had a contrary view, and it was interesting and stimulating to hear. But if you only get the contrary view, which is, isn't it fun if we all pretend Churchill was the bad guy of the 20th century? At some point, you're going to lead people down a path where they think that's the view. And that's horse shit of the most profound kind.
I don't think that's what he's trying to do.
I think that's exactly what they're doing.
But that was exactly what he was trying to do. That was exactly what he was trying to do. He literally made the case to Tucker Carlson. He was saying, like, he straight up said Churchill was the chief villain.
And the problem is that because your own platform has come about because you're a very successful comedian and much more, and you do ask questions and you are interested. But there are a lot of people who have come along, partly, I think, because they've come on this show, who have come along and they've decided, I can play this double game. On the one hand, I'm going to push really edgy and, frankly, sometimes horrific opinions. And then if you say,
yeah, look, Cornell West is pretty cooked. Like, I liked him back in 2017. So this debate was literally in 2017. I was like 18 years old. I liked Cornell West when I was like 18 because like I was like a Bernie bro back then. And he's pretty cooked, Cornell West. But yeah, like, it was funny. I did get to meet both of them at the end of the show. It was pretty cool.
that's wrong, they say,
And you know who was the host of it? Tom Ballard, who's that guy who hosts the Cringe Greens podcast. Very funny.
I'm a comedian.
But wait a minute.
How can you tell me I'm just a comedian?
Well,
I'm just throwing.
Yusuf, I love your comments, man. I'm really interested because you are like a moderate Muslim guy. What allowed you to sort of see through some of this like pro-Hamas extremism and stuff like that? What allowed you to see through all this stuff? Jennifer says, I got to go to work. It was fantastic to see Murray and enunciate Horshite. Have a good day. Thanks so much for watching, Jennifer. I really appreciate it. You were watching the whole stream. Thank you. I really appreciate it. And I appreciate your comments. Thank you so much. Appreciate it. Nicholas, in 1940, Hitler did ask for peace after France was defeated, and Churchill was completely right to say no. Imagine if Hitler fought the Soviet Union without Allied interference. Yeah.
What horrific opinions that's wrong are you talking about specifically?
Once guys like this get into very obvious stuff, which is
Guys like Daryl?
the ones I'm describing.
You
very
need to
clear.
listen to Daryl to really understand what he's saying. If you take Daryl's words out of context, Daryl has some of the most nuanced, balanced, and charitable views on all the figures in history.
Well, particularly Hitler, it seems.
No,
just
you're
not
wrong.
true.
Let me get
You're
up to
wrong.
Creeper, by the way.
He doesn't. What did he call him? How did he describe him?
I think he compared him to a methed out psychopath who was holding an entire nation of people hostage, I believe was the way
He also
put it.
said on here that he wasn't anti-Semitic until the Holocaust. There were no speeches of Hitler's in the 1930s.
Again, this is
No.
Listen, man,
So-
I can't show this. I don't know how to. I mean, I'll just get my phone up. But there's like literally a screenshot of Daryl Cooper, Martyr made. It was from I think it was from July last year, where he was saying that it would have been preferable for Hitler to have won World War II than for the current timeline we live in to have existed.
he said he was not.
Oh, thank you, Ryan, for donating again. If you're looking for content creators to have live chats and collaboration with on Ukraine, I recommend Darren Gerdes and Jake Bros. Yeah, thank you so much, man. I actually really like Jake Bros, and he actually shared one of my videos one time. I really appreciate that. Helped me reach a much bigger audience. So yeah, I'm a big supporter of Jake Bros. And if you're a subscriber of his and stuff like that, you should tell him to have me on the stream. I'd love to work with him. He's a cool guy. He's a really cool guy.
Public about
he said
it.
he was downplaying it to win over. He said there was a period where he was downplaying it to win over popular support in Germany.
Yeah.
It was his argument.
Yusuf, I've always known how extreme Hamas happens to be. Even in my anti-Zionist days, I was critical of Hamas due to the crimes that Hamas has committed. I respect that a lot, man. I really respect that a lot. I wish we had more of it, because my problem, right, is that unfortunately, a lot of the apparent or so-called moderates, unfortunately, in the Muslim community, they often hold themselves back from really full-throated denunciation of Hamas and stuff like that. So I really respect that, Yusuf. Thank you, man. You're a great guy. And I wish more people were like you.
There is no historian of World War II who thinks that Hitler was downplaying anti-Semitism in the 1930s. That was what he was doing. He wrote a book about it in the 1920s. He got to power on it, and he grew his power on the back of it. The idea that you can argue that in the 1930s, Adolf Hitler was downplaying the anti-Semitism, like, there's no historian who would agree with that. So why would you throw out the idea that in the 1930s, Hitler was not being anti-Semitic in public? That was what he was doing in public. He announces to the German parliament what he wants to do. So when you're throwing out claims like he was keeping it down in the 1930s, first of all, what are you doing? And secondly, why?
Okay. I mean, I think that it's kind of hard because I don't even know exactly what Daryl's point on that was. And so I'm not really in a position to argue what he was saying there. I don't think you're giving him the most charitable interpretation.
I don't need to give him the most charitable interpretation to be able to see
Okay,
what
I think you're
he's
straw-manning
doing.
him, I should say.
Look,
Strawmanning.
anyone
That's
can look
such
up
a joke.
what he
That's
said
a
on
joke.
this show and others. What these two guys in particular have said on repeated podcasts with both of you. It's an attempt to downplay Hitler and always to do down Churchill.
I don't think you
in
downplayed
su-
Hitler.
in whatever
I've
way they
downplayed
can.
Hitler?
No, I said in conversations with you and others, this is the shtick of these guys. They've decided it's edgy and funny, and I think this is very, very
Sure, I think
interesting
that
and
was-
also very dangerous, because we live in an era now that the right has got some mojo back in America. We saw years of crazy left overreach where they tried to make us all say the craziest things, and completely predictably.
Yuki says, do you think there's any truth in the new post-Assad regime in Syria massacring minorities? Listen, there were horrible reprisal killings. There was an attempted Assadist uprising that was backed by Iran. And in response, there were reprisal massacres on ethnic lines, and that's absolutely horrific. Jolani promised to the world that he would start a full investigation. If he wants to have any credibility on the world stage, then they have to take that seriously, and they have to try and build a rule of law. That's just the simple thing, because they can't have ethnic massacres, of course.
There are now figures on the right playing with really dark and ugly stuff on their side.
I agree
And
with
they
that.
are mainstreaming
I don't
this,
think
and I
Daryl's
think it's
doing that.
partly being mainstreamed by the two people I just described. And both of you have kept speaking to these people, and you don't get on the historians who know about this. And that's just alarming to me.
Well, can I just say,
It's true. Like, imagine how much better it'd be if you had like Ian Kershaw or something like that on the Joe Rogan podcast. I know it's not going to happen because like Joe prefers like literally talking to fucking retards. But imagine you just had like actual historians who've spent their lives 40 years in the German archives properly studying this stuff. It'd be so much more interesting. Like, aren't you guys? This is the thing that pisses me off, right? Like, wouldn't you find it more interesting talking to somebody who spent 50 years studying this stuff and has literally spent like 10,000 hours in the German archives studying firsthand the primary documents, like literally the documents signed by Hitler, signed by Himmler, etc. Wouldn't you prefer talking to that person than over fucking like Martyr Maid, who's read like, and at the end of the day, like what he's read, Martyr Maid has read like like Daryl Cooper, Martyrs Made. Daryl Cooper's read Pat Buchanan's book, and he read like 1 or 2 books by Sam McMeekin. And Sam McMeekin's a real historian, but his whole sort of like revisionist narrative is that the entire war on the Eastern Front was really like sort of Stalin's main thing. And so like Martin Maid has read 2 books on this subject, 3 books. Wouldn't you prefer to talk to somebody who spent 40 fucking years in the archives? Like I would so much prefer speaking to somebody who knows what they're talking about. Like that's just me. I prefer actually learning from interesting people who know what they're talking about. But these people don't like that.
So, because I kind of do agree with part of
It's
what
true,
you
it's
said
money.
there. Like, I do think
They
it
do
is
it for money,
true
exactly.
that almost as a reaction to like the woke insanity that we've seen on the left, and I think literally, I think nobody's been a more effective critic of that than you. I do think there has kind of been a right-wing reaction that has embraced racialism and
Yeah, exactly. They've read
is
David Irving.
dangerous and not a good path
Yeah,
to
and
go
now
down.
they've
It's like David Irving and the other guys, Pat Buchanan. Those are like the 2 writers that they read on World War II, and they think that they've like unlocked the entire history of the conflict. And it's a joke. It's a fucking joke.
flirting with
Now-
Holocaust denial and
Yes,
Hitler
but you're
and
not-
absolving
But
Hitler of
I
blame
think
and
you're
much
wrong.
more.
not
I think
doing
you're
that.
wrong to include Daryl in that group. Now, the other thing is, I'm sorry, because maybe I'm misunderstanding what you're saying. You're saying people that I've had conversations with have
These 2 guys are
downplayed the
examples of
Holocaust.
this.
Well, who are the 2 guys?
I
Daryl
just told
Cooper,
you, Cooper and the other
Ian
friend of-
Carroll.
What's your advice to young podcast interviewers not to do a GARE? Listen, I'm nobody special, so I can't give that good advice. I haven't even really broken through myself, but listen, you just got to try and speak to people who actually know what they're talking about, don't you think? Like, don't you just have to speak to people who are experts, people who actually properly study these things. Like, try find out what the truth is instead of just regurgitating half-baked shit made up on the internet. That's it.
Carroll.
Ian
and
Carroll.
Carroll.
I've never podcasted with Ian Carroll. I have podcasted with Daryl Cooper once,
Yeah,
and he absolutely did not downplay any of the Nazi atrocities at all. And I think that
By the way, we've got 29 people watching live 30 people watching live on YouTube. Thank you guys. Please please comment, try boost it. I really want to try boost our YouTube channel. So yeah, if you guys can like and comment, I really appreciate that.
zooming out here a little bit, maybe this is kind of part of the disconnect. Broadly speaking, in American culture, the idea that it has not been driven into people enough that the Nazis were bad and that Adolf Hitler he is literally the modern devil. He is much more so than the actual devil.
so-
Adolf.
I'm using StreamYard right now, but I'm thinking maybe I should use Streamlab in the future because it'd be cool to have like the full chat on the screen, not just one comment at a time.
Hitler is what's viewed as the most evil thing, to the point that, I mean, just my entire life growing up.
I agree with Daniel. Like, it was better when, like, I said this the other day after like Trump's Liberation Day thing. Like we need to go back to expertise. Would you prefer, would you prefer people who've spent their entire lives studying be in charge of the things that matter, or would you prefer fucking cat turd in charge of things? And if you put cat turd in charge of things, it becomes a disaster. That's unfortunately the reality. Steve, hey Drew, your video presentation on Kharkiv was very informative. Much appreciated. Thank you so much. I really appreciate anyone who watched that. I went to Ukraine, guys. I've got the videos on my channel. If you can go watch them, go like and comment. I really appreciate it. Help me try reach more people. Will you be presenting your meeting with Callan? Yes. I've actually got a couple more videos from Ukraine. So I've got a video from Kharkiv. I've got a video from Kiev on the last day. I've got about 3 more videos on Ukraine coming. So if you guys subscribe to my YouTube, you'll see them in the future. Hopefully I'll put them out over the next week and a half.
There was a guy who sold soup on Seinfeld who was like authoritarian. He's a soup Nazi.
Right.
Everyone was Hitler. The left called George Bush Hitler, and they called Obama Hitler, and they called Trump Hitler.
Yes.
Every single enemy that we've gone to war with is always called Hitler. Saddam Hussein's the new Hitler. Muammar Gaddafi's the new Hitler. Putin's the new Hitler. It is so the idea that like we haven't.
This is so stupid from Dave Smith. Like, Putin's not like Putin must be good because like I don't even know what's the argument here. Like, Putin has killed hundreds of thousands of people at this point, up to 1 million people in Ukraine, and what, like, it's hyperbolic to compare him to Hitler. I mean, what's he even trying to argue? It's just stupid.
Driven into people enough that Adolf Hitler was a really bad guy.
I'm not saying that at all. I'm saying just as the left likes to play with very dark, ugly stuff,
absolutely,
and they've done it for decades. They have played down Chairman Mao's murder of the Chinese throughout his
Douglas
era of power.
right.
They played down Stalin. They still
Right.
march on occasions with post.
Douglas Murray's right on this. See, like, I'm very anti-MAGA and stuff like that, but the reason I would never call myself like, the reason I can't describe myself as like a leftist, right, is because like I hate so much the elements of the far left who've always made excuses for the atrocities carried out by supposedly left-wing dictators, Mao, Stalin, etc.
Of Lenin. They've spent decades trying to do down evils that were done on their side. And I would suggest that one of the things that is going on at the moment is, despite, or maybe because of what you just described, there are movements now on the right in America,
Yeah, I
subcultures,
agree,
including
I
people who
agree.
follow both of you, who are very interested in playing with this absolute beyond the pale thing. Why somebody like Jake Shields wants to play around with Holocaust denial?
Yeah, Jake Shields is a sicko.
Why?
I can't answer for Jake Shields. I don't know.
Why do you think?
I have no idea. I think
I'm telling
a
you,
lot of people get captured by audience capture.
captured by their audience.
Yeah, I think that's the thing. You get a lot of positive reinforcement from a bunch of.
But again, that's Joe Rogan. That's Joe Rogan because he's been audience captured by idiots who have been telling him, "Oh, put on Candace Owens, put on Ian Carroll, put on Daryl Cooper." Like, unfortunately, that's Joe Rogan at this point. It's audience capture.
Twisted people.
Well,
Yeah.
it's also, I mean, there's something about, Michael Malice had that great line. He goes, when you take the red pill, you're supposed to take one and not swallow the whole bottle.
Yes.
And I think there's like this dynamic. What happens is, and of course, people know the red pill is the analogy from the Matrix. The idea that you wake up to realizing that so much of the stuff you believed was bullshit propaganda and is all
Absolutely.
lies. And this is a real danger when the establishment and the institutions are all caught with their pants down, having sold a bunch of very consequential policies based on lies. And then once people realize that, they go, well, what else have they been lying to me about? And then they almost want to look into every single thing and go, yeah, I think the whole thing was lies. Now, I agree with you. There's danger in that. And I think that there are some things that then people jump to conclusions that are totally wrong. But I guess I tend to look at that and go, well, then maybe the people with power, not random podcasters, but like,
Oh, wow. Joe Rogan has 30 million people watching him per video. And it's not his fault that he puts on a Holocaust denier. Oh, no, the reason that this Holocaust deniers is because, fucking like Fauci. Like, it's just a retarded argument. Like, it's just a retarded argument. Come on.
like the people with real power should do a better job of not lying through their fucking teeth.
I don't think that was Jake. I don't think that was Jake Shields last night, but it was another like UFC guy with like shit for brains who was like a Hitler supporter and he got fucking bashed.
About everything.
Well, maybe you have power. Maybe you have power. Both
True,
of
they
you.
both have millions.
We
of
live in
viewers.
an era where podcasters have a lot of power. If you go on a podcast with Jake Shields and Jake Shields goes on to another podcast and says he doesn't think 6 million Jews were killed in the Holocaust.
Sent my last text by accident. Notice so many so-called wingnats, Christ trads, and the DR care more about Palestinians than they do Ukrainian workers. It's true. It's true. Isn't it true? Like MAGA has made excuses for Russia massacring Ukrainian. Okay, here's a good point, right? Here's a really good point. You've got Candace Owens and Tucker Carlson. Every day they go out, they scream, Christ is king. They're talking about how they're the great defenders of Christianity. Russia massacres 30 people. Russia massacres 30 people in Sumy. Ukrainians coming back from church. And like, where are they? They say nothing. They're completely silent. So it's just bullshit. They're just fucking liars, seriously, grifters.
What do you think's happening there? That's an exercise of power.
Okay.
Okay.
That's okay, Jonathan. Sorry.
And I agree with you about the breakdown of trust.
Yeah, honestly, Joe Rogan's like more popular than CNN now. Like, he has a lot of power, so it's his choice if he puts like full-on Holocaust deniers on. Yeah, no, it's true. Daniel's right. Russian bot farms are ensuring people talking about Israel rather than Russia, the greatest distraction exercise in comedy history. I honestly think you're right there, Daniel. I think you're honestly right. Daniel, I know you're like in the New South Wales Libertarian Party, right? Like you got to talk to John Ruddick and stuff because these guys have like fully drunk the Kool-Aid when it comes to Russia. It's pretty sad. It's pretty sad. And I'm not putting anything against you, Daniel, for that. I'm just saying, like, it's actually sad. Like John Ruddick and stuff have like taken the Kool-Aid so badly on that. Yeah, dude, I literally went. I got to show you guys this. Let me really quickly. I'll come back to the debate, but somebody's talking about the Herson human safari here. Dude, I literally saw it with my own eyes. Guys. If you're watching on YouTube or if you're watching on Twitter, please go through and check out my other YouTube videos. I put this up 2 weeks ago. I literally went to Herson and we walked through some of the most dangerous areas, right, of the downtown area. and like, you know, it's almost like completely deserted. There's only like really homeless people and really elderly people left in the downtown area. Russia's declared the entire city like a free fire zone, like a red zone, and it's just horrific. Like what we're talking about here is just absolutely horrific, and it was terrifying walking through some of these streets. You'd hear the shelling constantly. I filmed this all, right, and like no one cares about the human safari compared to like Israel Palestine, but every single day they're killing like 10, 20 people probably in Kherson. The casualty rate is 10, 20 people a day. They just literally hit civilians in the streets. It's a human safari with drones. It's sick. And it's just sad that, like, you know, Tucker doesn't care about that. Candace Owens doesn't care about it. That none of these guys care. So that's my video. That's my video, the Hassan one. I'd appreciate if you guys go through and watch that, but I'll put back on.
Sorry, it's your show, but I mean,
Is rerouting.
you go on a podcast with Jake Shields, and Jake Shields goes on to another podcast and says he doesn't think 6 million.
Yeah, they hit ambulances. So when we were going near the river, I went about 300 meters back from the river, which is basically the front line in Kherson. So when we were near the river, there's basically no cars, but the one or two cars that are around, they basically, this going like 100 Ks, 150 Ks, because they know every single moving vehicle is a target for the Russians and the drones. And so that's what they do. Like if there's any ambulance in the city, they just hit it. And every car, like the streets are almost completely deserted. And the few cars that are on the street, when they get near the river, they're just screeching. They're screeching through the lights, etc.
Million Jews were killed in the Holocaust.
They are.
What do you think's happening there? That's an exercise of power.
Okay.
Okay. And I agree with you about the breakdown of trust. Absolutely.
Mercenary's right.
We have lived through an era where, in real time, we saw something called a conspiracy, the lab leak, which turns out to be true.
That's a good
as
point.
you and others said it might be from the beginning.
I find that to be very racist.
And against Joe,
How dare you
or
say
against
this? Both of you.
It
Both
used
of
to
you.
be
No,
Very
it
racist.
used to
That
be
was-
racist
that
when
was
we were
crazy.
saying that it was likely that the COVID variant had come out from the
Yes.
place making COVID variant.
Especially
But
since
isn't it
it's
great?
in the
It
exact town.
seemed like it.
Dude, isn't
Seemed
it
like it was possible.
I still think what happened was that the Chinese were working on the virus and it accidentally leaked, and they were worried. Like obviously they couldn't cope with the fact that it was the biggest disaster in history in terms of negligence, and they just covered it up. I think that's what they tried to do. They tried to cover it up, and then that's what brought the disaster to the world, because they were arresting doctors, they were arresting journalists, and they tried to like cover up what was happening. They were still allowing all the flights out of China, and that's how the disease spread around the world. Completely agree. Tulsi Gabbard's sick.
To us.
By the way,
But the point,
Ask yourself this: who has
Thank you, Steve. Thank you, man. I really do try. I try my best, because like there are a lot of people obviously who just talk the talk and everything. But I've literally gone to Ukraine. I reported from the front lines. Went to Kherson. I literally went to Kherson where the human safari is taking place, and I filmed there, right? So you get so many people on Twitter, and I had all these people going like, "Oh, you talk so much about Ukraine. When are you going to Ukraine?" Like I literally went to the fucking front line. I reported like as a journalist from the front line. I put it on my YouTube. Like, so I just try and back up what I'm talking about, right? And I think Douglas goes on to say this in the podcast. I think he basically says it to Dave Smith, like, you've been talking about it nonstop, hours and hours every day for like 2 years now, Israel, Palestine. Don't you think you should actually go to Middle East and try to see things with your own eyes? And Dave Smith's like, I don't have to go there to talk about it. It's like, listen, I've been to Ukraine twice since the war started, because I just wanted to see it with my own eyes. And what I saw with my own eyes actually confirmed for me why I do support Ukraine. I think, I think if you're, it's one thing if you don't have the money to, travel overseas, but Dave Smith is a successful comedian. He's got millions of dollars, right? Like he can easily just book a flight to Israel if he really wants to, but he doesn't want to, because they're grifters. Oh, Steve, I actually didn't get to go to Bushehr, but when I was driving into Ukraine, I did drive through the suburb of Bushehr, which was crazy. So like when I was driving into Ukraine, I got a car into Ukraine, and I was like just looking around, and I was looking at the Google Maps while we were driving through the outskirts of Kiev. And then I was like, holy shit, it's Bushehr. And I literally realized I was going through Bushehr, and I actually got some video of the streets and stuff like that. It's crazy. It's like, they've really rebuilt the area and stuff like that. But it's chilling, right? Because when you're there, you're like, my God, like this is like Bushehr goes down in history alongside other names that are so infamous, like Guernica, cities have just basically been destroyed. Like, and to be there, it's just, it goes down in history, like Hiroshima, Guernica, Bushehr. And then you're in Bushehr suddenly, and you're looking around and everything's been rebuilt. And it's just like, but my God, like to think that the atrocities happened here, it was really chilling to be there.
which is just
by scanning the QR code on screen.
That's true from Nicholas. It actually was. So what actually happened? What happened was Obama banned gain of function research in America because it was too dangerous. So what happened was, and like this is actually true. It's not even just conspiracy theory slop or whatever. Like Fauci outsourced gain of function research to labs around the world, and they were doing it at the Wuhan lab. And so yeah, it was literally funded in part by the American government, not fully. I don't think it was fully funded, but yeah, Obama literally banned gain of function research in America because it was so dangerous. And then like Fauci sort of like, I guess, went around that rule, and they went to China, and it was just really bad safety procedures. I don't think it was like a bioweapon. I don't think it was like released on purpose. I just think that it was, because if you can actually look at the stats, and like accidental medical releases actually happen way more than people realize. There were like literally hundreds of incidents just in America, for example, during the Obama years. And so that was part of the reason why Obama banned gain of function research, because these types of lab breaches actually do occur all the time. It's not even a conspiracy. So I think what happened was that like the Chinese just had bad safety procedures at Wuhan, and it leaked by accident. And then they panicked because obviously it makes the rulers of China look really bad that they were doing this. And so they tried to crack down on, like, they tried to shut down the information of the pandemic in its earlier stages, and then that's what allowed it to spread. That's my personal theory of it, right?
Green, or by clicking the link in the description.
It's true.
referencing the New York Times.
It's true. MAGA-Maoism has replaced nuts-bollism as the new trendy red-brown ideology. Red-brown ideology is like literally the most disgusting shit. Like when I discovered NASBOL, I think I was like 17, 18. I was like, how the fuck does this ideology exist? And it actually exists, right? And seriously, that's it. MAGA-Maoism is the new NASBOL. Thanks for clearing up my inquiry, Pavli. Thank you, Yuki. No, thank you, man. No worries. I appreciate all your comments today. Yeah, look, I honestly just think it was like accidental, right? I think it was an accident. Yeah, actually, I'll go try watch Destiny's reaction later. Yeah, Douglas Murray did absolutely just smash them. Okay, let's keep watching.
Calling the lab leak races, which is just
By the way, guys, we've got 33 live viewers on YouTube now. Thank you so much. Please make sure to like and comment, guys, so we can try to reach more people.
funniest thing ever that they go, it's racist to think.
I love that comment by Alvaro. Argentina run by a libertarian and the US run by a Peron is strange time. That's so true. Literally, I think there's a lot of similarity between Trump and Peron. I really need to study Peronism more. I think Bad Empanada, one of my enemies, like I think he's kind of sympathetic to Peronism, which is like insane because like Peron was also a Nazi sympathizer as well, and just like the worst economics in history as well. Reinhold, I mean, if COVID was an intentional bioweapon, then China would probably unleash it outside their borders, maybe Taiwan. Well, that's the thing. Like, it released first in China, so I've never bought the bioweapon theory because it did a lot of damage to China as well. So it wouldn't make sense for the CCP to like deliberately release it, right? It caused them so much damage. I think what's more likely is that they were studying this stuff, it got out of control, and then they were embarrassed and they tried to cover it up to save face, and then that's what led to the disaster. So it is still their fault because they tried. If they had just said straight up, if they had said like back in like November, December, we think there's been a breach, we're going to shut down Wuhan, and we're going to shut down flights out of China, and it would have just ended probably after a month instead of it becoming like this massive disaster. Damn, I've got somebody watching from Argentina. Thank you, Alexis. I'm so sorry you share a country with Bad Empanada, my friend. I love Argentina, love their football team. I've got to go to Argentina one day. 2:30 a.m. You're going hard. Thank you, man. Thank you so much.
That there was a sophisticated lab where they were developing like gain of function research, and they go,
oh man, I met people. One of the people that I met, one of the civilians that I met in Kherson, her father was pulled off a bus by the Russians, and just for looking at them the wrong way or whatever, and they pulled him off the bus and they tortured him so brutally. So I literally talked to people who firsthand experience of like the torture and stuff like that, and like it just like it is a shattered society because of what Russia's done to them.
no, what happened is these freaks were eating bat heads.
That's
and you're
right.
like, wait, that's not
Yeah, honestly, it's basically like a sort of Chernobyl moment for China.
racist.
Pretty
The other
racist.
one was
They're
racist.
eating
Much, yeah.
pangolins.
Absolutely.
Well,
But that one fell apart in front of our eyes.
well, it
And
took
of course,
4
it
years.
took 4
Yeah.
years. And I've said repeatedly, it's kind of inevitable to me that if you see something that is called a racist conspiracy theory fall apart and become also what we used to call true in a few years, it's likely to blow a lot of people's minds. But the question then is, do you help those minds that have been blow themselves out some more by doing a whole load of other conspiracy stuff? Do you decide to go, hey, what else have we been lied to? Maybe Churchill wasn't a great guy. Maybe Hitler wasn't such a bad guy. Maybe the Holocaust, etc., etc.
Nobody
And that is
is saying that.
exactly
No
what
one
they're-
is saying maybe Hitler wasn't such a.
Joe, like a lot of people have been saying that on social media. If you look at Twitter, like any day of the week.
You
bad
are
guy.
saying that.
No
if you're
one's saying
saying
that.
that in the
You're doing-
1930s, Hitler kept the anti-Semitism down.
No,
listen,
no.
what-
That's not what he's saying. What he was saying is that he didn't do it as publicly. He was doing it in meetings
I know.
because the support for that kind of thinking wasn't as ubiquitous.
This is just stupid, right? Because like Hitler ran on anti-Semitism from the very start. That was his like main thing forever. That was always his main thing. So I just don't know what Joe Rogan's on about.
The
As
thing
it
is,
was.
Joe, is I've seen this before. I know exactly what these guys are drinking. They're drinking a couple of very, very discredited historians like David Irving, and they are just regurgitating it. And it was always been the same thing. It is always an attempt to minimize Hitler's anti-Semitism actions. Eventually down the road, you get to minimizing his actual involvement in the Holocaust. And then you can go
Yeah, but you
on to the
can't
next
say that
stage.
about Daryl. It's
Okay,
not
I think
true.
what you're
Is
what
that
you're
what
they're
guilty of
doing?
here is kind of similar to, I think, something that the woke left has done, which is this
Mhm.
concept creep, where you're talking about
Yeah, exactly. We actually know like the first circulation of COVID inside China was I think late November, December-ish. So it was going like there was a big opportunity to stop it before it became the worldwide pandemic, and the Chinese government refused to take that opportunity.
some people online who are doing this thing, and then you're lumping in other people with them. Listen, I'll just say this right now. Daryl Cooper is currently, I believe, almost finished, or he's working on a big World War II series. And
Can't
when
wait.
this comes
What's
out,
it going to be on?
we can see.
Can't
we
wait.
can-
I love that.
yeah, he does long form podcasts. When this comes out, I am quite confident to say beforehand that if you're going into it expecting him to be downplaying the atrocities of the Nazis or downplaying the evil things that Adolf
why
Hitler
are we-
did, you're going to be
Look,
disappointed.
My point is, why are we even talking about this guy?
Because you brought him up.
Yes, because he comes on podcasts like this. My point is, this is not a serious historian. He's not a historian.
He never claims to be. He's been doing these long form podcasts on these subjects for over a decade. And if you go back to 2015 and listen to Fear and Loathing in the New Jerusalem, it's an incredible piece. And it's
Excellent.
how many hours long?
30 something.
And it literally starts from the persecution of the Jews, where they're being driven out of Europe. It's like this horrific account of what happens to these people. It's what he's trying to do is paint a picture of how the world goes mad and how the world goes sideways. And he's doing it from the perspective initially of these Jewish people that are living in Europe, that all of a sudden their neighbors are turning on them and they're being attacked. Like it's incredibly charitable. But what he's trying to do is show what happens to human beings when they're confronted with unbelievable atrocities and how.
By the way, I just want to say to anybody who's still watching, thank you so much, for persevering for so long. If you've got, if you're watching on YouTube, we've got 30 live viewers on YouTube. Most of our viewership is on Twitter. But if you're watching on YouTube, please give it a like and a comment. Just comment, like, and just help me reach more people. I really appreciate it because we're trying to build something up here. This is the first episode. I'll do it every day for 100 days. See how big we can make it.
How things go so
but
incredibly sideways.
Lots of people have written and spoken about that.
So why is he not allowed to? I don't
is allowed
understand.
to.
So
He is
saying?
allowed to. I'm saying that there's a weird way in which figures like him, whose ideas are not being countered when they are raised, are given platform after platform to spread their views. They are welcome to those platforms. I'm not saying they shouldn't be platformed. I'm saying these are very, very fringe figures who are pushing ideas that are either debunked now, have been debunked before, or they will not stand up against somebody who disagrees with them.
I was gonna say shout out to John. He was like the 14th viewer. Now we've got we're building it up a lot. We've had 4,000 viewers on YouTube. Irabuku number 14 on YouTube. What's number 14? But yeah, no, thank you so much, guys. I really appreciate it. Anyone who's been watching, I really appreciate it. Daniel, this is interesting. Daniel's asking Yuki why he thinks that Trump will abandon Israel. Israel might have for the first time have the ability to do it without America, beat Hamas without America. I don't know. Look, it's a live question. I think it's interesting that Trump put tariffs higher on Israel than he put tariffs when he had Liberation Day. Trump put tariffs higher on Israel than comparatively with Iran, which is strange, right? So it's interesting. Steve Shane says thank you. No, thank you guys. I appreciate it. I think we've got 33 live viewers on YouTube, which is I think the maximum we've had on the stream. So just please keep liking and commenting, guys. Help me reach more people, and yeah, we'll try and make this bigger.
Okay, I would just say maybe this is the disconnect here when you say there's like not push.
It's funny. Remember when the Chinese Communist Party tried to say that America actually leaked the COVID virus and it came into China via frozen food. There was a funny one as well where there was literally a point where the Chinese Communist Party, they had a researcher put out an article saying like, what if COVID came from outer space? What if it was from like an asteroid strike, which is just mental.
Back. Daryl's one line on Tucker
Carlson.
Okay. This
Irabuka saying he's watching on 2 different platforms. I appreciate that, man. Thank you. Good stuff. You're a legend. Thanks, bro.
One line where he himself said he was being hyperbolic and kind of says this to prod at his butt.
We've breached our maximum on YouTube so far. 34 live viewers. Guys, if you're watching, please like, comment, help me try reach more people.
Got more pushback than any one line I've ever heard on a podcast. There were numerous articles written by historians, numerous shows that covered it. People went through, there were Twitter threads about it. So I don't exactly get your point. Like there was lots of pushback. If you're saying he should go and debate somebody,
Yusuf, I think pro Hamas hate mongers in Canada and Australia, like if people are like explicitly supporting terrorism, I genuinely think they should be deported. Like honestly, that's probably what I think. My dad blamed Iran for COVID a few years ago. Look, it was I think it was the Wuhan lab, my friends. I think it was Wuhan lab.
Who's giving him pushback on that? Okay, maybe. I also think it's reasonable for him to say, I don't really do debates.
Yeah, I think it's weird to mainstream very fringe views constantly and not give another side. I think that's weird.
I agree. Honestly, Douglas Murray, like debating. Look, I think Joe Rogan is like still a smart guy because like what he's been able to build is, you know, obviously a sign of intelligence. But Dave Smith, like I've got no respect for Dave Smith whatsoever. He's just like a fuckwit. Like, and Douglas Murray to actually sit down and you know have to talk with this guy for so long. Honestly, respect to him.
Well, I mean, I think there's a little bit of a contradiction here. You're saying now that these are fringe.
Buku, of course. I actually will. Can you DM me on Twitter and I'll follow you back? So guys, if you've been watching and you want me to follow you back, just send me a message on Twitter. I've got open DMs and I'll respond after the show.
Views, but then you're also saying that these are enormously powerful.
No.
Views,
There's
so
no
like,
contradiction. Let me clear it up if you think there is. I think there are very fringe views that have become mainstreamed on the right.
But then aren't they not fringe by definition?
Sure, you can play an epistemological game.
No, I'm just saying let's be accurate.
You do understand the concept,
like,
don't you?
Dude,
that fringe
debating a fucking preschooler. Like what's the point of going, so they're not fringe because lots of people believe in them.
Has become
lots of people believing in something doesn't necessarily mean it's true. Like that's just like that's very basic, right?
Mainstreamed. Yeah. Okay.
Right.
Sure.
So that's it.
Okay. I'm not exactly sure. So you're saying that what Joe shouldn't have Daryl Cooper on?
I'm saying that
he should debate.
That there will have that if you mainstream very, very fringe views, which are easily able to be debunked, if you mainstream them, at some point that view that was so fringe will be what eager, very disconnected, unhappy people are going to start playing with too. And if these people are such experts in how you see a society go weird, they can look at what is happening to a portion of the right everywhere on this stuff. There is a portion of the right across the West that is playing this very dark game, and they're doing it deliberately.
That's a good
and
point.
You can't not be aware of that.
I
agree with that. I don't think Daryl Cooper is doing that, but I do agree with your characterization.
No, but
I think it's a pretty important.
Yeah, that's a sad thing. I used to like Joe Rogan. Like I like the fact that the guy's not like a scientist, but he would have interesting people on. But he's over the past years had some really disgraceful people on, and he's just literally, dude. He's literally just playing the same games as stupid leftists. It's just so stupid.
Distinction there.
You're just taking this one statement, and
Thank
then
you, reality.
where he's
it,
trying to joke around with his buddy. This Churchill statement,
I
and
do
this is
agree.
Because
he
he and
this.
these other guys are all doing the anti-Churchill stuff now.
But he's not doing an anti-Churchill
Okay,
stuff.
he and the other
but
people
Churchill
in the orbit I'm
Churchill was
describing.
the author of this whole Operation Unthinkable, right? Where they wanted to use the Nazis to invade.
Oh, dude, this part was so stupid by Joe Rogan. I saw this part on Twitter, and I was like Operation Unthinkable was a plan designed as worst case scenario if the Soviet Union continued to fight. If the Soviet Union didn't stop at Berlin but kept on fighting to try to take over France, etc. Like Operation Unthinkable is literally just a war plan. Every country on earth has war plans for everything, every conceivable scenario. Doesn't mean anything.
Russia, wasn't that Churchill?
Oh, that's pretty
that not
sad.
true?
Like, Douglas Murray actually just
We're going to have to get into the weeds on Churchill. There is always going to be a corner which you can get me on a.
Yeah, Nicholas, honestly, I think a lot of people have lost respect for them. Hey, over this stuff, over precisely this stuff. Like I read the Walter Isaacson biography of Elon Musk. I admired what he was able to do in business and in material science, etc. But what he's done in politics in Ukraine now is just like such a disgrace. Like just cannot ever defend it.
Bit of Churchill.
But that's the point.
You'd have to
But
say
that's
what
the
you're,
point.
which
is
bit
to
you're
have
talking
a
about.
comprehensive view.
Yeah.
Nathan's like a Nazi accountant who's going like, "Oh, Operation Unthinkable was just a plan like Operation Sea Lion." Like, dude, the Nazis were literally fighting the Battle of Britain in the skies. They had the plan. They were trying to put into practice their plan to invade Britain. Like, what can you even say to that? This chat is making my overnight shift exciting. Oh, that's good, UK. I'm glad somebody's just enjoying their life. You know, if I was working an overnight shift, I would literally just be doing the same thing, probably just watching streamers and stuff.
Churchill was never working with the Germans to invade Russia.
No. This was a plan that was drawn up. Do you know about Operation Unthinkable?
Fire away.
Never pull it up, Jamie.
Oh, that's look. I don't agree with you on that one, Yuki. Because I mean, you're right that like the Soviet Union supported Israel at the start of the the foundation of when it came to Israel's foundation, but at the same time, like the surrounding Arab invading armies were like extremely genocidal against Israel. Like if they had won, they would have really killed like hundreds of thousands of people.
Operation Unthinkable was at the end of the war. I believe
Churchill
was concerned about the rise of Russia in the rise of the Soviet Union. And the idea was, and we'll find out what the historical facts are about this. Operation Unthinkable, a name given to two related possible future war plans developed by the British Chiefs of Staff Committee against the Soviet Union during 1945. The plans were never implemented. The creation of the plans was ordered by the British Prime Minister Winston Churchill on May 1945 and developed by the British Armed Forces Joint Planning Staff in May 1945, the end of World War II in Europe. One plan assumed a surprise attack on the Soviet forces stationed in Germany to oppose the will of the United States, the will of the United States and the British Empire upon Russia. Right. The will was qualified as a square deal for Poland, but added that does not necessarily limit the military commitment. The assessment.
Like, what's Joe Rogan trying to argue for now? That like Poland should have been a Soviet satellite after 1945. Like that was a good thing. I don't even know what Joe Rogan's trying to argue here. It's actually sad.
Signed by the Chief of Army Staff on 9 June 1945 concluded it would be beyond our power to win a quick but limited success, and we would be committed to a protracted war against heavy odds. The code was,
This is okay. First of all, I never do Wikipedia.
Okay, we don't have to do Wikipedia.
No, that's okay. That's okay.
This is just what Jamie pulled up.
Okay, but first of all, yes, at the end of the war, a plan requested that wasn't seen through. That suggests that after the defeat of Nazism, communism.
Yeah, it's so strange to complain about just having a plan for Operation Unthinkable. It's fucking strange. Like, I seriously don't understand what Joe Rogan's trying to drive at. Like, is his idea that, we should have just been really, really friendly to the Soviets right after 1945? I mean, it was still the Stalinist dictatorship.
Of the Soviet form is also going to be a threat to Europe. Was simply an evidence that
it's true that Hitler thought England would make a deal. It's true that he thought that, but it was never realistic. Never realistic to expect that after he carried out the area bombing of British cities. I mean, the whole thing. Like at the end of the day, it was a plan for world conquest. He had General Plan Ost. The idea was to was to basically conquer the entirety of Eastern Europe. And British foreign policy for hundreds of years had been never let one single power unify the continent. That's why the British enforced all these blockades against Napoleon's empires. Britain always had this as their central foreign policy goal: never allow Europe to be unified by one central power against Britain. That's always been Britain's foreign policy. So I don't understand this idea that, Britain should have just allowed Hitler to take over the entirety of Europe, and that would have been fine because Hitler would have let them have the empire. Aside from the immorality of that, of course, it's so brutally immoral. It also just doesn't even make sense to expect that Britain would accept that, even just on geopolitical realist terms. It just doesn't make sense. So it's just the whole thing's stupid.
Obvious.
True.
It's what Churchill had worried about throughout the 40s. He worried about it in Yalta. He worried about it everywhere.
Agree with Nicholas.
I'm sorry, but I have to return to this point that this man manages to do one of the most heroic things in human history in standing alone against evil in its most concentrate form. And he does about as much as any human being can do to save the civilized world.
It's true. It's true. I completely agree with Douglas Murray here.
If you just park that and you go on to a plan
Absolutely.
in 1945 to try to counter Soviet domination of Europe,
Joe Rogan wants the Soviets to have satellite states in Eastern Europe now for some reason. Who even knows how he got to that idea?
See what I'm saying? This is not doing something in the round.
Yeah, it's also look. I mean, I'm not even I'm not at all the expert on World War II.
Yeah, we know, Dave. That's the fucking problem.
With you about World War II, but I would say that there's a lot of room for nuance and disagreement with what you just said. You know, in the 20th century, we had 2 world wars. They're the worst thing, objectively speaking, the worst thing that's ever happened in the history of the world. And the Second World War is the biggest bloodbath in human history. And it ended with handing the man who you just mentioned, Joseph Stalin, half of Europe. So listen, if you want to argue...
Dave, you're on the same debating team as Joe Rogan, who was complaining 1 minute ago that he was complaining 1 minute ago that Churchill had a plan to try and stop Stalin from conquering half of Europe after World War II. I mean, there's just no logic here. There's no internal consistency whatsoever.
I'm Jewish and of German descent, so I'm not against the argument that it was the Nazis had to be defeated and that was the most important thing. But there still is just the basic facts that it almost couldn't have gone worse. It was just a nightmare for civilization. And if people want to look back at that and go, man, was there any other way this could have been handled? Was there any other way? Were there blunders that were made here? Now, personally, what I feel much more comfortable arguing would be that I try to blame everything I can on Woodrow Wilson as much as I can, because also he created the income tax and the Federal Reserve and did so much to damage my country.
But seriously,
I think American entry into World War I was really a disaster, and imposing the Treaty of Versailles on Germany was a disaster. I also think that's kind of fairly mainstream history. That's not a particularly controversial view that imposing the Treaty of Versailles on Germany ended up in disaster.
Well, no, except that, as Martin Amis said, the only way to not get to the Treaty of Versailles would be for Germany to win World War One. But yeah, but we're not talking about the Nazis winning the war.
Sure. We're talking about listen. I think that.
Secondly, sorry, I just have to address that fundamental. You say the outcome of World War II and everything that happened in it was the worst thing that's ever happened, and the worst thing imaginable, the worst possible outcome. You said
just about.
You said worst possible outcome. Let me give you a much worse possible outcome. Hitler wins.
Right. Okay.
Sure. So it's not the worst possible outcome.
I mean,
that's true.
Listen, but okay, Hitler. Yes. Okay. I'm not saying you can't dream up a worse outcome. I'm saying what you.
It's true. It's unfortunately the truth that FDR was way more trusting of the Soviets than Churchill. Churchill was the one who wanted to really fight to try block, Poland being dominated by Soviet Union after the war. And FDR was the one who just wanted to accept that as a fait accompli.
Not dreaming up. That's just what my country, Perth, and others went through.
What did end up happening was 60 million people died, including the Holocaust, and then Joseph Stalin takes half of Europe. So, okay, fine.
Creating the Federal Reserve is worse than invading Poland and starting World War II and killing 10 million people. Yeah, that's the mind of full-blown retardation, libertarian full-blown retardation. That's what it is, unfortunately.
correct that. There is a worse outcome,
Right.
but that's not a great one.
No, nobody said it was. This is like
Right.
there's a very weird argument that you now hear about this. This attempt to revision this, and I know why it's happening.
I don't think
on the
I don't think
segment.
there's anything
No,
I'm
I think
saying
there
that's
is.
revisionist.
I think there is. But this attempt to sort of say, look, at the end of World War II, what have we got? Stalin has half of Europe. What was the point, and so on. That's going on. That's going on, and there are people who are feeding it. That argument is very similar. This particular school of, as it were, history is doing something that I've seen happen with American history as well, particularly with Lincoln. Lincoln's an interesting comparison to make with Churchill on this. There are people who will criticize Churchill for mistakes made. Not hard to do. Quite hard not to make mistakes while fighting at a war of total annihilation against your country. People will say, oh, he didn't sort this out in 1945. It's rather like Lincoln. He didn't solve every problem in the world for all time, but he solved a hell of a big problem for his time. And that requires some kind of generosity of spirit and understanding in hindsight, as opposed to, I will find something that he did that I wouldn't have done, because if I'd have been running the
Azov has been fully normalized. I mean, Azov has become a part of the normal Ukrainian military command. The Nazis were actually pushed out of Azov years ago. And it's a normal Ukrainian military unit now, basically. Libertarianism. Yes. Amen.
the British Empire in 1939, I'd have known exactly how to do it.
Exactly, yeah. Churchill was the one who was trying to save Eastern Europe. And unfortunately, FDR was the one who kind of said, just accept it as a fait accompli.
And I'd have known how to hold the whole thing together. And I'd have kept Stalin back, and he'd have been great at Yalta.
Yeah, Yuki, I know you've been watching it on Twitter. This is actually going out live as well on YouTube. I've got 40 live viewers on YouTube right now. I think about like 80% of the people watching are probably on Twitter right now, but we've got 40 people watching on Twitter, on YouTube, sorry. And yeah, please go through, subscribe to my channel. If you're watching on YouTube, please like and comment and subscribe to help me reach more people. Because yeah, I've literally got a plan. I'm going to just stream every single day for the next 100 days. Because I've got a problem with perfectionism where I'm like, I don't want to put out content unless it's perfect. And I'm like, no, I just have to beat that. I just got to make content every single day so I can try and make it. So 100 days in a row. That's what we're going to try to do.
Like, this is,
But I don't think anybody's saying that.
Yeah, I agree with you. I think there is a tendency of like woke left kids to do this, but I don't think that's what certainly not what I'm saying, and I don't think what Daryl's saying.
Exactly.
I do also think that one of the bigger kind of the bigger picture dynamics to all of this is that we have
True, FDR was way too naive about Stalin.
At least since 9/11 been in a state of perpetual war, and all of these wars have been disasters. They have been so many lies involved in selling all of them. I mean, the whole Iraq war, the whole war in Afghanistan, just lying the whole way through.
I actually really support and like James Patterson because he personally tried to protect me and my family when there were death threats against me, and when the Chinese government, when there was a kidnap plot against me by the Chinese government in 2022, he actually he pressured the AFP to try to get a response and stuff like that. So James Patterson is a really good guy. I really like James Patterson. And that's actually why I went so hard against NSN the other day. Because NSN, National Socialist Network in Australia, these guys when I debated Joel Davis, they showered me with death threats after, death threats against my family members as well, tried to dox me, tried to put my address out there so Nazis would kill me. And then afterwards as well, now they're doing the same sort of stuff to James Patterson. So these guys are sickos. I fully oppose them. James Patterson tried to protect me when the Chinese government had a kidnap plot against me in Australia. He's a good guy, one of the few good guys in Parliament who protected me.
I mean, I remember literally having conversations with Green Berets in the middle of the war in Afghanistan, and they're like, George W. Bush is telling you that the army we're building up there is really successful. This thing's going to fall in a...
Hang on, I can't send a DM to people that don't follow me, Drew, only verified you. Oh, okay. Listen, Irabuku, can you just comment on the stream and say that say you're Irabuku or whatever, and I'll follow you back.
Week without us, and then all through the Obama administration, it's just like lie after lie after lie with disastrous wars. And so this does
exactly. There's more Nazis fighting for Russia, like the Rusich group, for example, and the number 2 in the Wagner group, Utkin. He had SS tattoos on his collarbones, right? So the Nazis are right there on the Russian side.
Create a fertile ground for people to say, I wonder if they were lying about all these wars.
Sure. but
Again, I'm not really trying
it
to
is
argue with you about
fertile
World War
ground.
II. I'd rather argue about these
fertile
wars
ground,
today.
I think the interesting question.
That's the thing, man. These people, they've all lost their minds because of the Iraq War. I think I was actually lucky that I was like 4 years old when the Iraq War happened. Because if I was like 18 or 19, like a whole generation of millennials got their minds fucking cooked from it. They had their minds just fucking eradicated by the WMD thing. I get that it's bad. I get that it's bad. But Saddam Hussein was objectively an evil guy. Yes, the WMD's thing that Bush tried to push was retarded. Obviously it was. But let's not pretend that Saddam Hussein was like, Mother Teresa on a fucking rainbow. Like, this is a guy who used chemical weapons against Kurds countless times. He should have been overthrown for that decade prior, right? So unfortunately, just the whole generation of guys who came of age at like 18, 19 years old when WMDs in 2003 happened, Iraq War, they just lost their mind forever. And forevermore, they're just always going to think, oh, bro, if someone in power says this, it must be false. It must be false. And they've just lost their minds to conspiracy system because one time, remember when it was coming up to Russia's invasion of Ukraine. It was February 2022. All these same guys were going, Russia's not going to invade. This is the new WMDs. And then guess what? They fucking invaded. And none of them changed their mind. None of them even reflected for a second. So these guys, they all lost their fucking minds over WMDs. I'm glad. I'm so fucking thankful that I was 4 years old when that happened. Because otherwise I would have fucking lost my mind forever. And I would have read one book, Manufacturing Consent by Noam Chomsky, and just fucking lost my mind forever to these fucking idiot conspiracy theories.
Is whether you're busy watering it.
Well, should you not talk about mistakes that were made
You should.
overall?
Absolutely.
Okay, you should.
Absolutely.
Right.
I was never a communist. I was like a democratic socialist. And I think that phase of my life was cringe, and I've repudiated it. I fully repudiated it because what happened was all these socialists that I tried to be friends with, blah, 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 when I was 19, 20 years old, at the end of the day, they all supported the Chinese Communist Party when the Chinese Communist Party was trying to kill me and my family. So I'm just not going to support people who fucking want me dead because I'm not suicidal. It's as simple as that. I just woke up because unfortunately the tankies have infested such a massive part of the left. And so I just had to wake up to the reality that I was allying with people who thought it was funny to kill me. I'm not suicidal.
All for going back and looking.
Yeah, absolutely, Achilles. It's the contrarian mind virus. They lost their mind in 2003, and what can you do? They can never get it back.
So what is your argument then?
It's a very weird thing to go back, zone in on a man, say this one thing is a mistake and should characterize him, and you ignore everything else.
You're taking him out of context.
It's true, yeah. Ukraine's literally just fighting for its existence against a country that wants it to cease to exist. Russia and Putin have made clear so many times they don't believe that Ukraine's a real country. They think Ukrainian language and history, nationhood should just be stamped out. And that's what Ukraine's fighting against because they know that if they lose, it's oblivion for Ukraine. It's oblivion for Ukraine for the next 100 years. That's why they're fighting.
When you're talking about Daryl, who's done, what was it, 30 plus hours?
So what? 30 plus hours of podcasting. You do that in a week.
UFC 314.
And NSN are fucking psychos. NSN are fucking psychos in Australia. They're fucking psychos. They're constantly threatening to commit terror attacks and massacres against people. They're fucking scary psychos. And 99% of Australians look at them and just think, who are these fucking freaks marching in black in the street? They look like fucking retards. They look like thugs. They literally look like thugs, and they repulse 99% of the population.
Can bet $5 to get
a of course, Steve, you're right. Of course, 2014. The first Russian invasion was 2014, but I was obviously talking about like the full-scale invasion of the entire country in February 2022. But of course, yes, you're right. Like the war has been going on from 2014. And when I was in Ukraine last month, I went to the Donbass, and it's crazy because like the areas I visited, Russia's been fighting over them for 11 years now. 11 years, and they still haven't been able to conquer it. It's actually crazy.
$50 in bonus bets instantly. Step into the octagon. When you
in terms of it's a very different.
That's a good comment by Western Hegemony Ajoya. Or you think that China invading Taiwan was bad? Let me tell you about Iraq. Do you think Russia invading the entirety of Europe is bad? Why haven't you considered Iraq? Exactly. It's like the one thing they'll fucking repeat to the end of time because they were like 20 years old when WMDs happened and it fucking one-shotted their brains. Dude, I was 4 years old. I was playing in the fucking sandpit when WMDs happened. So I didn't get fucking one-shotted for all time with Noam Chomsky conspiracy theories. Thank fuck. Thank God. Seriously.
Different. It's very different. He's not doing a podcast like talking to people.
Okay, nor is he doing.
Of course, and that's what the Chinese government is doing. They're murdering and torturing Muslims in concentration camps. That's what they're doing to Uyghurs.
Scholarly work, nor is he working in the archives. Clearly, come on. I mean, he is not the historian of our era.
He's not claiming to be.
This is the thing, Joe. This is like punching jelly.
No, but you
It can
you don't
always
you don't
adapt.
consume
It
but you
can
don't
adapt
consume his
around.
work.
What I'm saying, because
Yeah, I hate this shit where people are like, oh, you know, free speech means you have to protect the freedom of speech of people who want to just kill you. No, it doesn't. When did that idea come up? Where did that idea come up? I don't understand this idea that this is so stupid, right? I don't understand the idea that you're a hypocrite unless you support people who want to fucking murder you. You know, like that's the thing, right? Like people think like, oh, you're such a hypocrite. You're so internally inconsistent because you're not extending freedom to people who would use their freedom to behead you. No, sorry, I'm not suicidal. It's just as simple as that. Like, oh wow, we should have freedom of speech for fucking ISIS hate preachers. No, we shouldn't. That's not what liberalism is. That's not what like freedom of expression is. It's actually such a basic concept, right? Like it's self-preservation. I think liberalism needs to have more of a focus on self-preservation because we shouldn't have this suicidal mentality like, oh, you're a hypocrite unless you literally give Nazis or communists or jihadists the fucking gun to hold against your skull and blow your brains out. You're a hypocrite. You're internally inconsistent. No, you're not. You're just trying to defend the system that you grew up with. You're trying to defend the system, the culture that you grew up with. I want to defend the culture of liberalism that I grew up with, where I can choose what I want to do as a career for my life. I can choose where I go, when I want to do. I don't have to be fucking a slave to anybody. It's as simple as that. I don't want to be somebody's slave. I don't want to be a government slave. So I'm not going to accept it when communists want me to, be pushed into slavery. I don't want to accept Nazi slavery. I don't want to accept jihadist slavery. And I'm not going to give the gun to these people to put against our heads and fucking blow our brains out. I hate this idea like, oh, Drew, you're so inconsistent because you say you support free speech, but suddenly you don't support jihadists literally getting a fucking saw and cutting off your fucking neck. No, it's called not being suicidal, guys. Seriously. Oh no, that's a great one, Electric Elephant. That's a great one. I actually have had a video in the works for a long time on Boy Boy. I really want to do a video on Boy Boy because they're horrible tankies. They're fucking horrible tankies. And it's like Friendly Geordies and Boy Boy. They also got their minds one-shotted by WMDs. That's it. Friendly Geordies is 35, right? And I'm 25. That means when I was 4 years old when Iraq was invaded. He was like 14, 15. So for him, it was like the biggest thing of his fucking life. It was the biggest thing. It was like his introduction to politics, right? That's why these guys got one-shotted by it. Because they were 15, they were 16, they were 17. And then they're just going to be shadowboxing over Iraq for the next 30 years of their careers in politics and media and stuff like that. They're just shadowboxing the Iraq WMDs controversy until the end of time. And then like Zoomers who were just lucky enough to be like 3 years old when it happened, like they can just see the world beyond WMDs.
because I don't need to consume.
Yeah, of course, Dr. Luis. I'm not saying that like I'm not. Of course, I don't think all Arabic people are jihadists. I'm talking explicitly here about like the actual ISIS hate preachers, the actual guys who support Hezbollah, Hamas, and stuff like that. And I fully agree with deporting Aussie Cossack. By the way, that would be so funny and brilliant. Is free speech really about being able to physically harm or kill someone? Well, look, some political ideologies that are fundamentally opposed to freedom, right? Which is Nazism, fascism, communism, jihadism. These guys, they're trying to use the freedoms of a liberal state to amass enough power. And the second that they get enough power, they're going to use it to kill people. That's why I oppose them having freedoms, right? Don't disagree, though there needs to be a clear line between actions and words to judge fairly on a case-by-case basis. Thank you, Ryan. Look, I really appreciate your donations. Thank you so much, Ryan. And look, I agree. Look, I'm obviously like, obviously I'm not for like full, like I try to explain myself, right? Like obviously there's a difference between just words and action, right? But if the words are designed to incite the violence, to try and build up to a future state where you're committing extermination and genocide and stuff, that's where it ends. That's where it ends, right? It's exactly random. It's a slippery slope. Yeah, of course, Dr. Luis. And look, of course, I'm not stereotyping anybody here. I'm talking explicitly about like the ideologues here. I'm talking about the ideologues. Yeah, exactly, Yusuf. Like seriously, like someone like Bad Empanada, I genuinely think should be in jail because they've advocated terrorist attacks online. Like I think advocating terrorist attacks, advocating genocide, advocating extermination, like that should be like, that should be fucking jailable. Oh, cool. That you lived in Greece. That's awesome. I've never been to Greece, but I've been to Cyprus because my family's Greek Cypriot. So that's awesome though. Thank you. Why does ASIO constantly say NSN doesn't advocate terrorism? I think ASIO is wrong. If you, dude, I saw Simple Jack Jacob Hassan's speech outside of outside Senator Patterson's office yesterday. I saw Simple Jack's speech, and I call him Simple Jack because he always stutters with his words. It's quite funny. But this Nazi guy giving the speech, he literally said, there will be punishment for politicians like Jen Patterson. Like, that is foreshadowing that they want to kill these guys. Come on, it's so obvious. We understand. We can see through what your bullshit. Yeah, I think let the tankies and Islamists talk. It's good that people get to hear how nuts they are. I don't think we should fear extremists speaking nonsense. Maybe you're right, Nicholas. Maybe you're right. Hang on. Let's see the latest comments.
Assume endless versions of a revisionist history. I understand.
But
I
it's
know
not
where this comes
revision.
Yeah, look, I think Trump incited January 6th. I think that. Yeah, Aussie Cossack has physically assaulted people and is a felon who evaded arrest already. Yeah, for sure. Literally, I would be shutting down the Russian consulate in Sydney, declaring the diplomat's persona non grata, and then just arresting him, and then just deporting him, putting him straight on the next plane. I lived in Cyprus for 1 year in 1999. It's the best country. Oh, cool, Luis. I was born in 1999. That's my birth year. Simple Jack. Yeah, that's Jacob Hassan for you. He's literally Simple Jack. If you watch his videos, like, he literally sounds like Simple Jack from Tropic Thunder. It's pretty funny, actually.
Revisionist history. If you listen to his work, it's not revisionist history. He's basing it on historical
But
work.
yeah, I know. But okay, so this is my point about Jelly. It's a shape-shifting thing. Comedian or historian?
He's not a comedian.
Historian or podcast? Would-be historian or actual historian? You say he doesn't claim to be a historian, but he's pumping out tens of hours of
Well, neither
history.
does Dan Carlin. He doesn't claim to be a historian either.
Yeah, that's true, Yusuf. Like, all the tankies, they hate Islam. Like, they claim to hate Islamism, but then they love Hamas and Hezbollah. It's very fucking dumb. I mean, I get your point, Randoms, where you say it's better to let them expose themselves than go dark and go underground. But I mean, like, look at Twitter over the past 2 years, right? Like, these guys have had a massive platform, and like, they're using it to organize. They're using it to organize, and their end goal is to kill people. So, I mean, it's kind of like, it's just like these guys, if they get power, they will kill people, and they're using like, you know, they're using this oxygen that they've been given by Twitter. They're using that to organize so that they can do that eventually. So you can't let this happen, right? Every time Trump moves to deport a Muslim, they get 100 times more publicity than if they left him alone. It's hard. Like, I think for the worst cases of like somebody outright supporting Hamas and stuff like that, I think there needs to be a zero tolerance approach, because I think the society just needs to show that, like, it's not acceptable. You just can't let that happen. But I do understand your point that, like, if you sometimes when you attack these people, you can give them more oxygen. I can understand your point, Luis.
You see my point about the move? It's like some weird jujitsu move.
No, I don't.
Where you say, hang on, you know all about this as well. You say, I'm not a historian, but I'm going to spend my time talking about history. I'm not a journalist, but I'm going to spend my time talking about this thing.
That's true, Ryan. It is really hard to prove. It is really hard.
Not an expert on this, but I'm going to spend my time talking about this thing.
I think the old Twitter regime, like there were times where the censorship went way too far. Like, for example, when they banned Jordan Peterson simply because he said something about like two genders or whatever, like, obviously that's stupid. But when you have like outright Nazis on there talking about how much they love Hitler, talking about how they want to kill people, like, you can't let that happen, right? You can't let that happen, because they're using that to try and gain power so they can go kill people.
It's a weird move, yeah?
No.
You don't think?
No, I'm a free American. I can talk about what I like to. So I don't. So what is the point
I've
here?
noticed you can, but
So
we
what's
all
the
can.
point?
Funny thing in the debate where, like, Douglas Murray is just saying what you're saying is stupid, and then Dave Smith keeps on responding by going like, so you're trying to censor me. And like, Douglas Murray has never once said censorship. He's just saying like, no, what you're saying is dumb and should be pushed back on. Like, it's just this dumb, it's just this like failure to compute in their minds. Like, they think anyone criticizing them is tantamount to censorship.
The point is, what are you pushing? What are you watering?
Yeah, exactly, Yusuf. It's literally the Karl Popper tolerance paradox.
What am
Why?
I pushing?
Yes.
Liberty, free markets, peace, prosperity, not getting in another stupid catastrophic war, which we're on the precipice of right now. That's what I'm.
Alexis, I just want to say thank you, man, for watching for so long. Thanks for staying up to 3 a.m. to watch. That's a legendary effort. And it's very cool that I've got someone there in Argentina. So thank you so much, Alexis. Good stuff. Have a good night. Thank you, man, for watching.
Pushing.
What are we on the precipice of?
Well, I think you weren't you just talking about it the other day. Everyone I hear on the inside says we're
Yeah, man, I get your point, Nicholas, but at the same time, like, you can't just say it's like a private platform, right? Because it functions as the public town space. So like it has a huge impact on real world politics, right? You can't just say like it's equivalent of going into like a private closed shop. Steven says you're cracking 38 on YouTube. That's awesome. Listen, guys, we're building. Thank you so much. If you're one of the 38 people watching live on YouTube right now, thank you so much. And please consider leaving a like, commenting, just helping me reach more people. Thank you so much. I really appreciate everyone who's been watching. We've done pretty well. We've had almost 5,000 viewers on Twitter and 38 live viewers right now on Twitter. No, 38 live viewers on YouTube, 5,000 almost on Twitter in total. Oh, fucking. Nathan's calling me a brown person whose parents were born overseas. My parents were born in Australia. My parents were born in Australia, and one set of my grandparents were born in Australia as well. My family literally goes back 4 generations in Australia, back to like the 1940s, late 1940s, early 1950s, like 80 years. I've got great grandparents like buried here 4 generations back. And this idea that I'm a brown person or whatever is such dumb bullshit. Anyway, the idea that people shouldn't even be allowed to have a voice because of their skin color is fucking retarded. So the whole thing, everything this Nathan guy represents is fucking sick. Yeah, 50 Cent Army supporting Gaza while Uyghurs suffering in China. That's literally perfect, classic CCP hypocrisy.
we're about to attack Iran. I think you just said something about that the other day. Am I wrong about that? I thought I saw in one of your interviews that you did.
Possibly.
No.
Yeah, thank you guys.
That doesn't mean we are on the verge of a war. I mean, you keep referring to we being in wars. There's a very big difference between a country.
Well, I called myself a person of color back in like 2020 as like a piss take, because even back then I had social alternative Trotskyist retards saying, "Oh, Drew's a white supremacist attacking Chinese because he's a white nationalist," blah, blah. And I jokingly said that I was a person of color so that they would stop calling me racist. Like, it's literally a piss take. Just like nobody, like, it's literally a piss take. Who the fuck actually thinks I'm a person of color? Like, literally, be real, guys. Seriously.
Country having a military that's engaged and a country being at war.
Yeah,
This
I know, Dr. Louise. I know. Elon Musk said he wanted Twitter to be more about free speech. Since he got it, he has been anything but about free speech. Yeah, that's the thing, because I've seen him ban so many people just because he disagrees with them. I've seen him purge people from Twitter. I've seen him purge people from Twitter all the time because he doesn't like what they're saying. Ryan, who? Yeah, Ryan, it's funny. So on my family, on both sides of my family, it's Greek Cypriot as far back as we can like trace it. And it just this like retarded thing that like Nazis and fascist guys do to try like mock me on Twitter and stuff. They go, "Oh, Drew's Turkish," and that's because like the Ottoman Empire used to occupy Cyprus, and Turkey today occupies the northern half of Cyprus. They invaded in 1974. So it's just literal retardation from a bunch of these guys who try to call me Turkish. I don't even find it an insult. It's just stupid. It's pretty funny, actually. Oh, cooler Lebanese people white than Drew. I think Bob Katter's white. Bob Katter's Lebanese. Bob Katter's a little bit Lebanese. He's a white bloke, isn't he? But Drew, if it wasn't for the existence of hypocrisy, the CCP would have nothing at all. That's true, Chicken Root. Who is this Swindon guy? How did we get an actual Nazi on this channel? Yeah, he's an actual Nazi. He's done death threats to me before and stuff like that. Honestly, I need to get a moderator so that next time I can just like get these guys out of the chats and stuff like that, because I can't fully moderate all the chat section while I'm live. So next time I'll try to get a moderator, just get rid of Nazi guys. Because these guys legitimately have sent me death threats before. I'm pretty sure I've seen this exact account give me a death threat before. So seriously, what a cunt. Jesus, Drew, you're as Aussie as they come. Thank you, Steve. Look, it's a stupid argument, right? Because I was born in Australia. I've lived my entire life. I'm turning 26 in June. For literally 99% of my life, I've been in Australia. I've gone overseas 3 or 4 times for like a month at a time, right? Like I've been to Cyprus once for 2 weeks and I liked it, but like I don't speak Greek, right? So unfortunately, I didn't really obviously I feel much more Australian than I am Cypriot. I don't actually, if I went to Cyprus, a lot of people in Cyprus would probably think of me as a foreigner, right? Even though I'm fully 100% Greek Cypriot in terms of blood, in terms of culture, I don't speak Greek, and language is such a huge part of culture. So really, culturally, I think of myself as fully Australian, westernized and stuff like that. Obviously, I'm proud to be Greek. I love that side of my culture, and you know, I'm always proud when I see like a Greek Cypriot. Like I'm always proud when I see like a Greek Australian like do well, like Nick Kyrgios and stuff like that. Always proud of those types of guys. But at the end of the day, I feel Australian. I love Australia, and like these Nazi guys who just try and like weaponize this stuff against me just because they don't like my political views, like I could be 100% Aryan or whatever, and I'd still say the exact same shit I'm talking about in terms of National Social Network. I'd still say the exact same thing. And that's the thing as well. 95% of white Australians, 99% of them probably think the exact same way I do about National Social Network and Nazis. Like, I mean, white people in Britain and America literally fought world wars against Nazi Germany. So this whole bullshit, right? Like these guys, the National Socialists and the Nazis, they try and claim that they're speaking for Western civilization, claim they're speaking for white people and stuff like that. Like 95, 99% of white people think Nazism is repellent and repulsive. It's also Nazi cope to try and say original Greeks were Germanic Aryans before Turkey. It's just the whole thing's just stupid. Like the whole thing, it's just a dumb argument, right? The 50-cent army, the communist Nazis. Yes, very true. Nathan Swindon, he keeps on trying to call National Socialist Network just a bunch of Australian nationalists. Dude, I'm an Australian nationalist and I'm not a Nazi. Okay, it's such a lie to say that I'm attacking Australian nationalists when I'm an Australian nationalist. I'm proud and patriotic about being Australian. I'm an Australian nationalist. I'm just not a national socialist because National Socialism is a fucking demonic ideology. Okay, National Socialism is literally a demonic ideology. Yeah, very true, Ryan. Very true. Netflix Cleopatra. Drew is a POC, of course. There's nothing wrong with going overseas. Of course, yeah, of course there's nothing wrong with going overseas. I enjoy going overseas, of course. Always be cautious of people who ask to be a mod. Very true, very true. I'll get someone probably on my Discord server. By the way, guys, if you've been following the whole thing and you're interested in maybe joining the Discord server, comment and I'll add people. Just comment on my Twitter post or comment on the YouTube channel, and Steve saying traveling the world's education. Yeah, dude, I love traveling the world. I also hate this like fucking stupid like insularity that all these Nazis have as well, right? Like it's good to go out and learn about the world and learn about other cultures. It's literally good. Nick Kyrgios is white. Nick Kyrgios is pure Aryan, mate. He's a beautiful bloke. I love Nick Kyrgios. Nick Kyrgios is pure Aryan, my friend. The current state of social media simply plays into the hands of genocidal terrorist groups. X simply raises Russia's its voices, while Facebook simply lowers Ukraine. Yeah, absolutely, Surfer. Literally, absolutely. Absolutely. Social media is literally playing into the hands of genocidal racist terror groups. Cypriots speak English more than Greeks because of colonialism. Yeah, that's true. That's actually how my family went to Australia, because they were born as British subjects in Cyprus. So that's how my family migrated to Australia. They were technically like British subjects. So yeah. You're a Cypriot nationalist. No, I'm not. I'm an Australian nationalist. Like, yes, I want Cyprus to like regain. I mean, if you're talking, do I support the Turkish occupation of Cyprus? Of course not. But which Australian would? Like, why would any Australian support the Turkish occupation of Cyprus? It's just fucking retarded. If you had to ask me, I'm an Australian nationalist. Yeah, exactly. Anzacs fought for liberal democracy, not white fascism. Absolutely. You should just try to ban him, to be honest. These Nazis have nothing better to do. And he'd be here in chat for 100 years, pissing in his rotting gamer chair, being a reply guy. Yeah, that's true. Honestly, I will actually I'll get someone to ban him next time. Yup, fringe clown show of retarded larpers. Yes, absolutely. In the famous words of Indiana Jones, I hate Nazis. Yup. Nathan, if you think it's good that Turkey military occupies Cyprus and like Turkey made Hagia Sophia one of the great Orthodox cathedrals and turned it into a mosque, if you think that's good, wow, man, you're such a based supporter of Western civilization. What a fucking clown you are, seriously. I can speak Greek, but Cyprus replied in English. Yeah, that's funny. That's funny. Kypreo. Would you call yourself a global capitalist? Look, I do support capitalism, but I support government regulation of capitalism because I don't favor like Ayn Rand economics, right? Like I do support free markets, but I think markets have to be regulated if you want to have like an actually functioning society. Nathan's now telling me that I'm not truly an Australian because I think it's bad that Turkey occupies the northern half of Cyprus. That's so retarded. Like, I think the Myanmar junta regime is bad. Does that make me fucking Burmese? Like, it's just fucking retarded, man. You guys literally have no philosophy, no intellect, no worldview, literal just pure retardation. If you think like the Myanmar junta dictatorship is bad, you must be a Burmese nationalist. Yeah, he replies, yeah, I don't care about Myanmar either. Yeah, good for you.
Country has not been at war for 25 years. You have not been fighting for the American.
A good place for people to leave a comment for a follow back is the Twitter post that announced the stream. I left a comment there. Yeah, guys, if you want to comment on the Twitter post that announced the stream, I'll follow back. I'll follow people back, and yeah, comment there. Yeah, I appreciate that, Yusuf. I really wish that Hagia Sophia could be a place, a secular place, right? I don't think it should be. I think it's disrespectful for Erdogan to turn it into a mosque, given the history of the location. To have it as a museum, respecting the secular, Ataturk's secular vision, that's a lot better, obviously. A lot better. Yeah, there's literally not a single country on earth that recognizes Turkey's occupation of Cyprus. Literally not a single country on earth. There's the ongoing Rohingya genocide in Myanmar. Yeah, that's absolutely true, Yusuf, and it's horrific. Nah, look, Chicken Little, I don't support, like, look, there are, this is the funny thing, right? Like, there are some Greeks who, like, there's some Greek ultra nationalists, right? And their attitude to, like, Istanbul is like, we need like a Hamas reconquista and like take it back. And look, it's obviously been 500, 600 years now under Turkey, and like the demographics of the city are completely different. Like, there's 10 million Turkish people living there. I don't support like an October 7th to get fucking Istanbul back. Like, that's just like, it's not in touch with reality, right? And it would just it would involve so much violence and bloodshed. Like, what I wish is that Greeks could live in, the city with peace, because obviously a lot of Greeks got ethnically cleansed from Constantinople. A lot of Greeks got ethnically cleansed. I just wish that people could live there freely. That's what I wish. But I'm not going to support like a Greek October 7th to win it back. That's just stupid, right? Well, so you're not a Magajuche economics fan. Good. No, I'm not a fan of Magajuche economics. Athenians are heavily nationalistic. They want the Byzantine Empire. Yeah, look, there are people out there that like want that stuff, and it's just, I look at them like it's like the same mindset as those Hamas guys who like believe in like a reconquista, right? Like to try like conquer the entirety of Israel. Like, it's just not in touch with reality. That's the ultimate reality there. I don't know, guys. I've been going for 3 hours now. I'm thinking that maybe I might head soon. If you guys want to, if you guys have any final questions, I'm happy to answer any final questions, because I might maybe do 5 more minutes. If you guys have any final questions. Yusuf Dunphy, follow me back here on Twitter. Comment on the stream. I'll try follow people back. I follow Dr. Louise Hitchcock. I don't see any other comments in the Twitter stream. Yeah, guys, comment on the Twitter stream, and I'll try follow people back. Yeah, guys, I'm probably going to leave soon. So yeah, I'm putting Nathan Swindon in a timeout or ban. Like, that guy is just insane. Which recharge shall be the PM on the 3rd? I actually don't know what's going to happen there, man. I actually don't know. I think actually at this point, Albo might win the election. But look, I'm not a big fan of Albo, because I think he's done pretty bad. And I think he's been pretty incompetent in power, which is a shame. I think, unfortunately, the current standard of Australian politics is really low. And I think both major parties are pretty weak. So it's a sad thing. By the way, guys, I just want to say as well, before we go, I really need to shill my my YouTube videos. So hang on, where is this stuff? Not that one. I am going to be debating Adu later, but not that one. Okay, hang on. Get up my YouTube. So guys, I've had a lot of people watching live. I've had 5,000 viewers on Twitter, almost 40 on YouTube. Guys, if you can, I would really appreciate if you go to my channel, consider subscribing, and check out some of my recent videos. So I had a really good video in Kherson where I literally was walking through the streets of the city, where they've been dealing with the human safari, where the Russians are just literally targeting anybody with drones. We literally went down some streets where maybe you got like a 1 in 10 chance of being hit by a drone. So it was pretty scary. I'm really glad that we did it though, because I saw the reality. of what's happening over there. I also went to the Donbass and I recorded footage from an apartment block that was struck by a Russian Iskander ballistic missile in Dobropilya, and it was a full-blown massacre. I recorded the aftermath about 36, 40 hours after that happened, and it was just really horrific. And I really wish more people would see it because my YouTube is really small compared to my Twitter and stuff like that. So I'm really trying to build it up. And this MAGA Maoism one, that's probably the best video we've done. It's about 25 minutes. I spent days writing the script. We put a lot of effort into that one. So if you guys can go through, give it a like, give it a comment, subscribe to my channel, and please consider sharing it around as well. Would really appreciate it. I know someone here said that they put my YouTube video on Destiny channel on Reddit or something like that. I really appreciate that. Whoever did that, if you guys can help me share it around on like Reddit and stuff, would really appreciate it. Yeah, thank you so much, Irabuku. I really appreciate it, man. Look, guys, this is the first one. I'm really going to try literally every day for 100 days and just see how big we can make it. Yusuf says, advocating the restoration of the Byzantine Empire sounds irredentist. Look, I'm not an irredentist. Thank you, Steve. Thank you so much for more content on Ukraine. Can you do a stream with Martinez Politics? Gave you a shout out. I'll read into that. Yusuf, I hope you don't mind. I followed you. Thank you, guys. Yeah, guys, thank you so much. I really appreciate it. If you guys have any last minute questions, I'm happy to answer them, but I'll probably be heading soon because 3 hours has been a while. But please subscribe on YouTube because yeah, guys, I'm going to try stream every single day for the next 100 days. See how much I can build this thing up because I've just really I really want to build up my YouTube, really want to build up my social media. I really appreciate anyone who's watching, anyone who donated as well. I think I got like about $100 as well. So really appreciate that, guys. Really cool. Yeah, thank you so much, everyone who watched. Please remember to subscribe, go through to my YouTube channel, watch my recent videos, give it a like, comment. If you can help me share it around, put it on Reddit, would really appreciate it. And yeah, thank you so much, everybody who watched. I really appreciate it. I'll be back probably around the same time tomorrow. And yeah, thank you so much, everybody. God bless you all, and good night. Thank you so much, guys. Cheers.